Bushwhacks were some of the worst days I've ever had in the mountains, or life, really.
Whereas Panther Mountain is totally opposite. It's a mountain on top of a crater.
I think the weather challenges on this incident were particularly difficult.
It was really the development of New York State. Catskills were responsible.
Now you're listening to Inside the Line, the Catskill Mountains podcast.
Episode 228. Tonight we have Jeff Bluey Lewis joining us tonight. Appalachian trail hiker. Appalachia. What is it, Jeff? I don't want to get him mad. Thru hikers will kill me.
I grew up in Ohio, and it was Appalachia in Ohio. But then when I moved to Pennsylvania a number of years later, it's Appalachia. And on trail, it was interchangeable. So it depends where you're from.
All right.
I just, whatever someone says, I say the same thing.
Okay, so the Appalachian Trail thru hiker, and he also has a book coming out called MidLifeHikeThis. Love the name. I'm guessing, I'm going to guess this has to do with the midlife crisis.
You nailed it, man.
Good. Wow, I'm so smart.
I think it's important that maybe we guide our crisis into something productive, right?
Yeah. Wait a minute. Well, wait, is there somebody? Wait, who is that? Did somebody just
cat.
speak?
Isn't it the cat?
Is that Tad?
Yeah.
Tad, welcome back.
Yeah, I'm here to do my victory lap.
Welcome back, Tad. Sorry to interrupt, but
yeah. So Jeff, we'll get into it later on, but midlife, you look like you got at least a decade to go before you hit the midlife.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Well, so I did the math, and male life expectancy in the U.S. is 78. Maybe I could get a few more years. I hope so. But I'm 40 at this point. 41. I was 40 when I hiked the trail, and I'm just going on math. I'm not going on some what someone else thinks I should be doing. I'm at 50%.
That's a good question, Tad, because everybody doesn't know what midlife is. So Jeff is here with us tonight. Hike This, author of and an Appalachian Trail thru hiker. He's going to talk about his thru hike, and he's going to talk about his new book that's coming out in September. So welcome to the show, Jeff.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, let's start this off with a bang, saying I apologize for last week's weather outlook that I had. On Sunday, I said it would be like partly cloudy, clearing the skies. It was not like that in the Catskills. So the weather is not 100% accurate. So forgive me for that. So,
but you'll still do the forecast later on.
I still will.
Okay.
And also, Ted, welcome back, buddy. It's good to have you back.
Yeah. Well, like I said, man, I'm here for the victory lap to celebrate with you and our listeners. We're 2-0 now in the Corona Grammys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Number one regional podcast in the Hudson Valley on the Corona Grammys. So thank you everybody for voting, for listening. It means a lot to me and to Tad. That we have a tight knit group in the Catskills and the Hudson Valley. These people, these hikers, whoever listens is awesome. Our community is tight. And Tad, with that being said, I'm just going to say this. Danny knows about this. We're taking over the Catskills. It's time. We're going to take over the Furloughs Lodge. It's time to take over Graham and Double Top.
Dude, I've already done that. I've already done Occupy Double Top.
Yeah,
so,
I knew it.
We'll do Occupy Double Top 2.0. I'm down for it. We'll get our attorneys, Do We Hike More and How, on it to, get us legal representation, maybe a bondsman to post bail bonds if we need to. But
I'm down with that. So
we'll be there.
We will. And I also wanted to say, school's out. Summer has begun. We've hit summer, and it's starting to begin the rescue calls. It has started. We had a lot over the last week. So we're going to talk about them right now. And Tad, what was that, buddy? Sorry.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by the number of Catskill call-ins. So
beat the Adirondacks.
Yeah, quite a bit here.
Yeah. So in Denning on June 26, 6:25 p.m., Raybrook Dispatch called Forest Rangers Horn and Sweeney about a subject who planned to die by suicide. The subject told a loved one, and the plan was to go after eating his last meal in Neversink. Looking at a Google search history and credit card history, Rangers determined the subject ate at a restaurant in Neversink and did a search for the Denning Trailhead at the Slide Mountain Wilderness at 7 p.m. Rangers Horde and Sweeney located a 31 years old car in the parking lot. Assistant Forest Ranger Smith reported he saw a hiker matching the subject description on the trail approximately a mile from the parking area. Rangers Alwyn and Fox joined the search for the Slide Mountain Trailhead. All 4 Rangers continued onto the summit of Slide, and at 3 a.m., once again, 7 p.m. is when they arrived there. So 3 a.m. Rangers located the subject from New Jersey, camping in a wooded area off the summit. Rangers escorted the subject to the trailhead where New York State Police took them to the hospital for a mental health evaluation. Resources were clear at 6:20 a.m. So unfortunate incident up there. Not an unfortunate incident, good outcome. We got a good outcome. So amazing jobs by the Rangers. You know, they're trained in this type of thing. Great little like background check and then kind of detective work that they had doing this. And they found the person, and outcome was good. Let's hope the person, is okay. Yeah. They've got their things going, and let's hope that's kind of changed their mind, that they were up on Slide and they were like, wow, this is actually really beautiful. I like this. I'm not gonna do anything to myself. This is great.
Yeah. Well, we don't know what went down. I find it interesting that they refer to a restaurant in Neversink, and although the Neversink River flows through that area, the community known as Neversink is miles to the west, many miles to the west. And that's where I would have thought the restaurant is. And I also note that 988 is the number you dial for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, and that they have counselors available in English and Spanish. So make a mental note of that number, 988. And if you or someone you know is thinking about suicide, reach out for help.
Please. Or, reach out to me. I don't mind talking with anyone who is having these kind of thoughts and stuff. So I'm all for somebody living their life. And if they need to be guided up Sugarloaf or Indian Head, I will take you up there and I will show you what we have here in the Catskills and how you should stay alive. And you should hike in the high peaks of the Catskills and around the Catskills or anywhere. So great outcome. Great job by the Rangers. Amazing. So good to hear. Then we move on. The next day in the town of Hunter, 911 requested Forest Ranger assistance for a hiker having a seizure near Artist Rock on the Escarpment Trail. Rangers Fox, Franceschina Jackson, and Kocher reached a 63-year-old, did a patient evaluation, and carried the subject to the trailhead. A Catskill ambulance was transported the patient to the hospital, and the resources were clear at 1:55 p.m. So another good outcome. Escarpment Trail, very popular place. So unfortunate incident. So. Yeah.
And just so the record's clear, it wasn't me, although I'm 63 years old. For those of you who are wondering if that was me.
Why he's been absent?
Yeah.
That's great. All right. Well, that's good outcome. So great outcome. Let's move on to the same exact day on June 27th at 2 p.m. So just right after they got done at a 1:55, Forest Rangers responded to a call for a subject with cardiac issues at a campsite in the Indian Head Wilderness along Echo Lake. Rangers Fox located a 20-year-old from Nixconset, conducted a patient assessment, and provided food and water. 4 other Rangers, along with the Twin Clove Technical Rope Rescue Team, that's a mouthful, and the Cedar Grove and Centerville Fire Departments helped unload the subject into a UTV, which drove to the Overlook Mountain Trailhead. Woodstock Ambulance transported the patient to the hospital, and resources were clear at 6:20 p.m. So another good outcome. I mean, once again, this is like freak accident stuff. We're not looking at negligence or anything. So that's good. Echo Lake, very popular place for camping and overnighting. So it didn't look like Yeah, nobody on or Fox. Yeah, Fox went right from that call to the other call. So Fox is putting in the miles, I guess.
Yeah, it's what we call a double header.
Yeah, right. Good Lord. And then in Hunter, again, the next day at 1:42 p.m., Dawson responded to a call for a hiker with an ankle injury near the Catskill Mountain House site. Dawson located a 29-year-old and assisted them back to the trailhead, which is like 400 yards away, and resources were clear at 2:30 p.m. At 1:42 p.m. on June 28th. So what is June 28th? Is that a weekend? Yeah, Friday. So there are not as many people there. There could have been like, if it was a weekend day, the 200 people up there just could have helped them out. So
yeah. Well, those ankle injuries can happen at any time, any place, under any circumstances when you're out hiking, whether you're 100 feet from the trailhead or 20 miles.
True. So all positive outcomes, and once again, no negligence. So it's not like somebody was doing Lone and Rocky, ran out of water, ran out of battery or a phone battery, didn't have a GPS, they started a fire, started a forest fire, stuff like that. Like, just weird. It's weird what we heard last year, and we'll see what we got coming on to this day. So I'm looking forward to hopefully people being responsible, as we've heard in the past. Instead, we'll see what we get.
Yeah, well, for the most part, with all the hiking that's going on, and remarkably with all of the people who are seemingly unprepared for the unexpected, there's still really a relatively low number of bad stories.
Yeah. Especially with these rainstorms coming in, these powerful thunderstorms that we've gotten, I'm very grateful that it's been warmer out, because, once again, these thunderstorms roll in, it's like, 65 degrees brings it down to 40 degrees. And now, we have the chance of hypothermia with these, some of these people that are unprepared, but, we had it freaking 95 degrees, thunderstorm rolls in. Yeah, let's drop that down to 88 degrees. So, hey, thanks for the shower. That was good. Let me summit 4 more peaks now. That was a good wash up. So, Jeff, you listen to this, the Catskills. I don't know, you're familiar with the Catskills. I mean, you hiked through the Shenandoahs, which are very similar to the Catskills. So that's basically what the Catskills are. Somewhat, we just have a little bit more steeper ascents in some certain places. But, this is not bad outcomes. Have you, when you're out hiking, have you heard of, this is basically the basic stuff, right?
Yeah, what's funny, I don't know if you saw me taking notes while you guys were talking, but I wrote the word poser with a question mark, because I have to admit I've never hiked the Catskills, and I'm ashamed. I will do it. My buddy PMA, or Sean, as you know, I'm the Long Island hiker. That's his home. He loves to spend time in the Catskills. So I promised him last fall when we were out for a hike that I'm buying snowshoes and I'm going to do some winter Catskills hiking with you. If you said it's anything like the Shenandoahs, I'm in. The Shenandoahs were just spectacular. Some of the easiest hiking, I say that, once you're up on the ridge, it's some of the easiest, smoothest, most beautiful hiking on the AT. So I look forward to hiking the Catskills and maybe tell you all about it, how I feel about it.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, it's still, it's pretty far away from you, right? How much did given?
Probably, let's see, probably 6 hours, 7 hours.
It's a hell of a drive. That's like from us going up to the Whites.
Come up for 3 days.
Worth it.
3 days.
Yeah, I mean, if you capped along the AT, you're fine to do 3 or 4 day hike up in the Catskills. That's easy.
Oh yeah, if you're gonna, same thing. You said you're that far from the Whites. If you're going to go to the Whites, make at least a long weekend out of it. Make a week out of it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, cool. So excellent. So that's a little bit of shooting the shit. So just got some rescues and stuff. I had one thing, I took it off of here, Tad, because I didn't know how long we would be on shooting the shit. Because I don't know. It was about the dog that I got attacked, and we talked about. About the dog that I got attacked in Pine Bush, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In its backyard, a bear came after it.
Yeah, so I mean, I will go over it really quickly. Like I kind of doing this from memory because I watched the video and I read the article. Is a lady who let her dog out a little bit later at night for a last minute pee before they went to bed. The dog went out, looked like a beautiful little pit bull, went outside, and all of a sudden a bear charged it, attacked it, and kind of like grabbed it and was like throwing it around. The lady said it was it was scary as heck. Was that the video where the guy ran out in his underwear?
I didn't really notice if he was wearing underwear or something else. I wasn't paying particular attention to the apparel. Just the screaming and the sense of franticness. But if you zeroed in on a guy on his underwear, I'm glad we got that on the record.
That was the one he fired the gun, though, right?
The gun? I don't seem to remember that. You have
okay, so maybe that was a whole different one. But like once again, the dog had like stitches on its back, on its side. But the dog looked after that. This is why I love dogs. Is they go through this trauma, but they still love life. Like it got ripped apart by a bear, and it was out there kind of wagging its tail at the people taking the video of it. And I was just like, the lady said it was just absolute like chaos, and just it was horrible. She couldn't do anything. The bear was huge, just attacking it for no reason. And I'm pretty sure, once again, I can't believe I took this out. I'm pretty sure he came out with a gun, fired the gun a couple times, and the bear took off. And it was weird. And I mean, it happens. And Pine Bush, where's that located, Tad? You said that's down in the Hudson?
Yeah, it's about 15 miles south, somewhat west of New Paltz, kind of at the toe of the slope of the Schwangunk Ridge. If you're going to Sam's Point, you're probably going to go through Pine Bush.
Okay. So once again, I'm pulling that up right now. 101-pound mixed breed pit bull Cayman.
Wow.
Routinely goes in the bathroom. Routinely does before they head out in the yard. He put his head up and started barking. The bear came charging through the woods. Yes, this was the one that had the living room nanny camera that captured the terrified. And the guy came out in just underwear, his boxers. I mean, that's underwear, and what do you do when a bear is attacking you? I mean, I would go out and beat the living shit out of the bear, but
in your underwear.
In my underwear, absolutely.
Now, do you wear boxers or you wear something else?
I gotta wear boxers.
Okay,
boxers, and I at least have a t-shirt on. So
yeah. Now, if you were wearing briefs, would you still go out after the bear, or is it only in boxers?
First of all, I wouldn't have a nanny camera on at those times at night.
It's kind of kinky, but all right.
But I still would go out and beat the shit out of the bear. But
okay. Yeah, for the sake of the dog.
Exactly. Yeah. I love wildlife, but don't go after my dog.
Okay. So when we're on the topic of write-ins, I just want to throw out, I'm going to ask Jeff, did you hear of that young woman, Kelsey, who rowed a boat from California to Hawaii? What was it? 2,400 miles in 43 days. Did you hear of that?
No.
So on the 4th of July, she rows into, the harbor in Hawaii, completing this solo journey. She was a 2012 graduate of the Adirondack High School.
Excellent.
Yeah, upstate New York. So I thought that connection was interesting, worth mentioning.
That's pretty
crazy. What kind of boat? Just like a small sailboat?
No, a rowboat. But when you look at their rowboats are purpose built. I mean, these things it's not what you're going to go rowing in your local pond or lake. These things are like ocean going rowboats, with a lot of different instruments and flotation and navigation and, all this stuff, but still 43 days solo.
That's incredible.
There. Yeah.
How many miles again? 4,000?
2,400 miles in 43 days.
Wow.
She broke the previous record was 86 days. She basically cut it in half.
No shit.
That's what growing up the Adirondacks does for you.
Right.
Badass.
It looks like some person in the Catskill is going to have to go after that and shatter that.
Yeah. Now, the most interesting part of this, Stosh, is she did it wearing boxers. Right. Some
Wow.
parts of the story aren't true. Let's move along to the
Move
next
along.
topic. Yeah.
So excellent. So once again, big thank you to the monthly supporters, Chris Garabin, Eric Rosario, Ascana Nichols, John Comiskey, Mikey S., Desert City Radio, Henry Burmeister, Vicky Ferreira, Jeff Jotz, Betsy A., Denise W., Vanessa, and Jim C. Thank you guys so much for your support. Once again, you're not supporting just the show, you're supporting the Catskills as well. And big shout out to our amazing sponsors, like Molly from Outdoor Chronicles Photography. Molly specializes in adventure couple photography, and she'll immortalize your moments amidst the stunning landscapes of the Catskills, Adirondacks, and the White Mountains. She'll craft timeless images that reflect a unique bond in nature's grandeur. Embark on an unforgettable photographic journey with Outdoor Chronicles Photography. Don't hesitate to get a hold of Molly on all platforms. Also, if you want to discover the wilderness, you need to go with Trailbound Project. Our expert-led hiking and backpacking education programs offer unparalleled outdoor experiences. Whether you're a beginner or seasoned adventurer, join us to learn essential skills, explore stunning trails, and connect with nature. Start your journey today with Trailbound Project and unlock the wonders of the great outdoors. So, Tad, I flipped things around since you haven't been here. We're going to go with, before our tags and stuff, we're going to go with if anybody's drinking anything.
Yeah. So it's my takeaway from that is, in my absence, you were getting really, really thirsty and wanted to crack open that brew sooner as opposed to later.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
100%.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's summer. It's been hot and humid. So you want to know what I'm drinking?
Yeah.
Well, it's the first Tuesday of the month, so it's No Brew Tuesday for me. And I have a delicious mixture of cranberry juice and water.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Are you okay? You backed up? Like that's...
No, it's, yeah, all right. But I am wearing boxers.
It's hot. Well, it's not hot. It's humid.
Yeah. No, so it's no brew Tuesday. And I don't know. I wasn't really interested in having another carbon. My go-to for the past few weeks is cranberry juice and water with a straw.
All right. I like it. Jeff, how about you? You having anything to drink tonight?
I am. Before I get into it, though, I have to say, Tad, I've got a friend who turned me on to a non-alcoholic alternative for sour beers. And you take like a San Pellegrino or some kind of sparkling water, mineral water, and mix it about 2 parts sparkling water with 1 part tart cherry juice or some kind of like real cold pressed cranberry, and it tastes just like a sour beer. It's delicious. You should try it. I'm living high class today. It's a beautiful Tuesday, so I've got a Boda Box Chardonnay, the best they have. So that's my sipping for the evening.
Wow.
Listen,
Sounds
I've had
very
some fancy people on here. That's the fanciest we've gotten so far.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to spell that. Like
Chardonnay or Boda Box?
Boda Box. Is that Australian?
Is that
No, but so it's Boda, B-O-T-A. It's like the boxed wine that they have it. Actually, they have it in the Shenandoah. Is that the way station or the waysides?
you don't
They
have to
like,
admit that, Jeff. No. Make it sound sophisticated. Also, I want to know is when you talk about wine in a box, I want to know if it comes with a straw.
It does not, but
No?
you could get a straw. I don't judge.
Yeah. You just like stab a metal straw in the top of the box and start
It's like a
sucking
Capri
it down.
Sun. Yeah, you
Yeah,
just like
that's what I'm
stab it in
saying.
there.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Well, that's how I put that down. We're going to tag that. So hold on. Wait a minute.
Ooh.
Yes. So
It sounds like a hard cider to me.
well, what else would I have, Ted? I have a Hudson North salted watermelon.
Oh, salted watermelon. Yeah. Talk about exotic.
Talk about the summer. That's salted watermelon.
Yeah. Also, I know listeners is Stosh has got to put like a splash guard on his microphone because you kind of see it's like a speedboat going by the dock when he cracks that open. There's like this wave of hard cider coming out of the top.
You can hear the carbonation coming up into the microphone.
Well, that's what I usually sip out. It sounds horrible.
Yeah.
But now it's got to be the lowest setting. So good. Glad everybody once again, Tad, thank you for being
no brew.
Yeah, no proof. Once again,
our our listeners who were on the wagon.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So another big question is, are you really outdoors? So mention the podcast, one of your hikes, through social media, and we'll chat about it on the show. You tag us by typing at ITL Catskill MTM podcast on your post. So, of course, we started off with who else but great old Todd, aka T-Bold Outdoors, was up at Wakely and Louie for 85 and 86 of his Adirondack 100. So getting close, 14 more left. That's getting close. I'm guessing the Adirondack 100 is the 100 low peaks.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like what we have down here in the Catskills. You hike the 46, and when you're done with that, you don't want to start on a grid, or while you're doing a grid, you head over and do peaks number 47 through 100. And I'm impressed that Todd Bold has covered so many of them, and the guy's really getting out there, banging out some mountains. Kudos to him. Sounds to me like Todd has got a complete and full grip on his midlife crisis.
All right. And you know what? I want to have that midlife crisis or midlife hike this. That sounds like something I want to deal with. Please bring it on, life.
That's why Jeff is on the show. He's going to guide you through it.
Exactly. So Hiker Joe also was in the Adirondack. Hiker Joe NY did Haystack, Wakely, and also Ampersand Mountain. And then the next week was tackling out Wittenberg for sunrise. Had some beautiful pictures of the sunrise. I believe he did that with Tom. So looked fantastic, man. That's, breaking out the sunrise at this time of year for Wittenberg has got to be challenging, because you got to arrive there at probably fucking like 2-3 o'clock
to start the hike. I'm going to say you got 2 hours to get up. Sunrise is, let's say, a little after 5.
Yeah. So what is for Jeff going up to Wittenberg? Wittenberg has probably the most stunning Catskill view. It's an open ledge, massive open ledge. I would say it's around 4 miles up to the top, with over probably 2,300 feet of gain.
Wow.
So it's a slug, and you just go up. You get to the certain part, you kind of go a little bit flat, tiny bit flat. And then you start almost scrambling up towards the top. It's so much fun. The beginning sucks because it's just an up slog. But once you get up to that scramble, and it's fun, and then you get to that view, it's just boom. Massive. So he had beautiful pictures. Check him out. Hiker Joe NY. Fantastic. Also, Serena Marie 46er was on Whiteface and Esther, and also has a new book out called Raised by the Mountain. So she describes this: at 4 years old, a venomous copperhead bite gave Serena her first terrifying taste of mortality. Decades later, caught in a blinding storm on the toughest peaks of the presidential range, her body almost gave out entirely. Soaked to the bones and miles from safety, she wasn't just battling the elements, she was in active heart failure, climbing alongside with a partner with broken ribs. What followed as a medical ordeal would have leveled the strongest among us: open heart surgery for a total valve replacement and aortic aneurysm repair. To stay alive, she was placed on Coumadin, a heavy blood thinner that could turn a simple backcountry stumble into a fatal emergency. But Serena refused to fade away silently. Instead of retreating to a safe life, she laced up her trail runners. Driven by a fierce necessity to reclaim her autonomy, she stepped into the wilderness again. Finding her true strength in the pitch black of midnight trail alone, she defied medical logic to become an ultra hiker on some of the most unforgiving terrain. Raised by Mountains is a breathtaking, raw, and deeply inspiring testament to human resilience. It is a story for the hikers, the survivors, the fighters, and to anyone who has ever been told their limits have been reached and chosen to push them away. So, Raised by the Mountains, Serena Marie 46er. Check it out. New book out on Amazon, and she said something else. I forgot what it was. Amazon.
Yeah. So she tagged the show. It sounds like she's guest material.
Yes, correct. We'll have her back on. We'll have her talk about that's a great idea, actually. Yeah. Sorry, finishing up the rum and coke. There we go. All right, so Tony, TJI 72, was up camping in Vermont. Looked like he had a great time paddling and tackling some peaks. Phenomenal time. He said it was super hot, but they stayed out of the heat. Scott, Catskill Mountains Brew and Zorro went up Bear Pen and Fly, and then up Balsam Lake Mountain on 2 scorching days. So hopefully they stay cool. Chrissy G.
But just going back to Scott, Bear Pen and Fly, which I love those mountains, but he was on the last episode, wasn't he? Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying, here's Scott. He's up doing this, epic multi-day adventure in the Adirondacks. And when he comes back to the Catskills, what does he hike?
He's tired.
For Zorro's tired. But yeah. Oh, well.
He's tired. That's okay, Scott.
He's obviously grinning. That's what that says.
Good call. Chrissy G also went to the Catskills to cool off and stopped at Pratt Rock, Mount U, and Bramley. So she was kind of doing the upper northern Catskills. Good to see you up there and to see people tackling Bramley. I love that.
Yeah. So Jeff, do you know what Pratt Rock is?
Say again, which rock?
Pratt Rock.
Don't know Pratt Rock. No, sir.
Pratt Rock is like the Mount Rushmore of the Catskills. Check it out. Google it when you're done with the show tonight, and I'm sure you're going to put it on your bucket list of things to do during your midlife crisis.
So are all the best hikers, are they carved into the rock there at the top?
I think Pratt himself is carved into the rock.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a historical guy, like back in the, what was it, late 1800s, mid 1800s, 1900s.
He had a tannery.
Yeah, he had a tannery, and it was like the biggest of its time, but he took down all the freaking woods over there and stuff like that. But he was one of the richest in the world at the time, and he felt that he needed a town named after him and stuff in the mountains carved after him. So,
as one does.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Tracy Pink Pony 18 went to Fahenstock. I'm going to say that. It sounds a little German. Fahenstock. Yes. And hiked some of the AT over there in Fahenstock, I guess. Rachel Jean, the Gypsy Queen, was out enjoying the cool waters of the Great Esopus. Let's hope those waters aren't getting warmer, because as we've talked to fly fishers before, that water's getting warmer, we're losing the fish. Yeah. Not to be negative. God,
good to see her out. I think she was on a little hiatus, maybe work related for a while, but it's nice to see she's back up in the Cats.
Yeah,
cruising around.
It's great to see someone to actually tag us. Joanne, Beyond Blazes, finally. Yeah, she tags us all the time. I nag on her a lot. She did an early morning solo hike up South Doubletop, and then went off and did something somewhere. Didn't really said where she was at, but I know where she was at.
Yeah, well, she goes off exploring, and I haven't checked up on her recently. But last I did, she was, inside of 20 to go on her Catskill grid. So she's got to be getting to the end.
She actually, I'm pretty sure she is finishing up her all trails soon. I'm pretty sure, what's today? The 7th? This weekend. I think she's finishing up her all trails and maybe her grid. I remember Danny talking to me about it. So she's got a weird section to complete over on, is it Cone Hill, right off of the Elm Ridge?
Could be, because I think she's hiking Wyndham this weekend.
Yes, so maybe I'm pretty sure Danny said she's finishing both. So
good for her.
Yeah, so hopefully, maybe I'll quit my job, have a midlife crisis, hike this, and just start going to hiking with all these people having finish their goddamn list, because I'm sick and tired of freaking corporate America. Screw this shit. I'm done. It's all podcasting. I'm going to live off of $20 a month.
You should do it. Well, Tad, when you said she's on a hiatus, I loved the irony of that. I was flipping it on its head, that she's on a hiatus from being adventurous, and now she's got to do work crap. That's the wrong, or she's got the right way of looking at it. Like, if you go do work for a little while and then go back to living.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, Jeff, I totally agree with you. I've had that discussion many times with people. Given that I'm in my 60s. And how ass backward, not to throw out a technical term, but I think it is a technical term, how ass backward we have it, where people work deep into their work life. As Jeff pointed out, the statistical average age of death for an American male, presumably white, is 78. And a lot of guys work until their late 60s. Then they retire and they got like 8 years left on the clock when they're least likely to be capable to enjoy life. So why don't we let people check out from age 50 to age 60 and then come back to work? I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to this in our conversation, but that is exactly what hit me, just smacked me in the head when I was like, I keep saying I'm going to do this thing, whatever your thing is. Everybody got their thing, but I'm going to do this thing one day, someday. And it's like the years keep ticking by. And I looked at my calendar and I couldn't find someday on the calendar anywhere. And it was like, you know what? I don't know if I'll be able to do it at retirement age. I hope I can, but like, I don't know. A lot could happen. It's like, you got to live life while your body lets you. You got to like take advantage of every day. Every day is a gift. And I'm not saying be reckless or irresponsible, but you can't just wait for life to happen. Because life will just happen to you if you don't happen to it. You've got to get out and you got to take charge and do the thing. You can always go back and work later. You can work when you're 70 if you want. It doesn't
Reckless
matter.
and irresponsible at the age of 40? No way. That means I'm basically going to be hurting the next day or of some sort of thing, whether it's drinking or being out on the frickin' trail and doing something stupid.
The bounce back takes a lot longer. It does.
It does. It does. All right, so I can't wait to hear about that, man. So let's move on. Mike at Red Hand Adventure Guides was up at Red Hill on a warm summer breeze. Patrick, the trail scribe, is one step closer to his 35 doing Indian Head Mountain. Andy, a.k.a. Brownski, was paddling on Lake Stahahi on a beautiful sunny day. And last but not least, Danny, mild mischievous, was on Plateau Mountain and spotted a marker, basically one of those orange markers that said rustic boulder steps to define trail. And Tad, he told me that I thought this would be on the western side of Plateau where they're, where shit's just shitty. But he said this was on the Mink Hollow side. I was like, Mink Hollow, that's actually a really nice trail. Like it needs work up there. Do you think that it needs work at all on the Mink Hollow going up Plateau?
Well, if they are in the process on the Plateau section itself to fortify that, harden up the surface, get rid of that punky, wet, soggy area, that would then make sense because you have that on the western side. If it's part of the incline coming out of Mink Hollow, yeah, I could see them maybe doing some improvements along there, like they did on Blackhead. Although I don't really think there's anything sketch enough along that incline coming out of Mink Hollow to warrant any trail work. But I could see them doing that punky, swampy part. But I imagine you'll tell us later on that there's punkier and swampier spots in the Catskills.
Yes.
So there you go.
Yeah, so I'm very curious. So now maybe this week I'll run up Plateau Mountain and see what's going on because I always like to be up to date on this. So people, once again, tag us. Put what's going on in the Catskills. I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to see about it because then I can report back. So.
Well, and because we want to have an opinion about everything. So
yeah, we want to crush on the DEC.
Yeah, it's all about voicing our opinions, right or wrong. We just shoot from the hip. We like it. We like it that way. Screw the target. We're just shooting from the hip.
Ready, fire, aim.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn straight. That's my midlife crisis.
Let's hope we hit at least part of the target. Usually we don't. So that's what's good about this show. We are nowhere near perfect, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's all about the bang.
Yeah, and you know what the bang is? Buying us a hard cider on the show.
There you go.
If you think we're doing a good job, and you want to support, or if you don't, or if you don't, if you think we're doing a bad job, buy us a hard cider. You can state why we're doing a bad job. And, the statement will make me feel bad, but the hard cider won't. So it kind of evens out. So go on buymeacoffee.com, throw us a hard cider, appreciate the show. Also, rate the show on any platform. You can go ahead and rate it on any platform. Doesn't matter. 5 stars, and that's about it. Can't really do anything else for us. It'll be the best. And then we move on to previous hikes. What does anybody got? Jeff, what have you been doing? I know outside of the Baltimore area, it's a little tough to get in a good, elevation gain hike. What do you got out there? What have you been doing recently?
There's not a ton of elevation gain, but I've been spending some time, actually a lot of time in West Virginia. I love West Virginia. It's only about just to the best parts, like the Dolly Sods and like the Thomas Davis, Canaan Valley area. It's maybe a 3 to 4 hour drive, but some of the whatever your outdoors thing is, that area is fantastic. There's some of the best mountain biking in the country, arguably in the world, in West Virginia. Like the ski lifts in the summertime, they'll take you up and you can ride down for miles and miles. But also the Shinnies, it's hard to beat the Shenandoahs as close as they are to the Baltimore, DC area. So that's where I've been spending most of my time. Actually, my trail family, my Tramley and extended trail family, just a couple weeks ago, we went down to Front Royal and provided trail magic to this year's AT Thru hikers for the weekend, and just an awesome experience. Nothing like hiker trash helping hiker trash. It was just such a good time. We got to spend some time outdoors, of course, as well. But that's been primarily my scene this year. I haven't gone too far from home.
Hey, I love Front Royal. That was a fantastic. That's where Jessica and I basically stay the night before we go on the Appalachian Trail for doing the handouts and stuff like that we do for the hikers. Mm-hmm. But I saw that from Sean. Sean posted the little thing. I didn't know you were there. He didn't tag you in it. So
I think he actually
did he?
No, I think he took my post and reposted it. So I wouldn't have been tagged in it because
we're calling him out on that.
Yeah, I'll give him shit. No, that's great.
Ridiculous, Sean, but that's awesome what you do. Doing trail magic.
Yeah, it's just so much fun. I mean, and as you guys know, whether you're doing a long hike or just a weekend thing, you're out for the day, and it's 90 degrees, you're sweating your butt off, and somebody's like, "Hey, would you like a cold Gatorade?" It's like, hell yes, I'd like a cold Gatorade. Yeah. I mean, nothing better than loving on people when they're out in that stuff. So it's just, it feels good. It feels really, really good to give back. And I like to say there's no wrong way to do a kind thing. Just love on people.
Correct. I agree. And with Jessica and I plan on doing that next year. Just a little bit different. We're going to, instead of, doing it day to day, we're going to actually rent the RV that we want to buy in the future and then go up and down the Shenandoah. It's kind of a little bit cheating, but we don't know our plan, but Jessica might at sometimes stay at the trailhead and drop me off at one end, and then I'll hike back to the other end so I can catch up to some of the thru hikers, and she can get the thru hikers that are coming through that notch area or something like that trailhead. So it's going to be fun. I love trail magic. I suggest anybody, get a hold of Jeff, get a hold of Sean, get a hold of Rachel Jean. You guys can go out and do some trail magic along, the Bear Mountain Trail down in the Hudson Valley and stuff when they're coming through the Hudson Valley. Because like you said, there's no other look on somebody's face when even you say the smallest thing, "Hey, I got a pack of Sour Patch Kids," and they would be like, "What? Holy shit!" They love homemade stuff. Like Jessica had muffins that she made, and they weren't filled with stuff, which we should have done. And they just loved it. She had at least, I think it was 36 made, and she got them all out within the first, I would say 6 hours of when we were out doing trail magic on the Appalachian Trail. So,
oh sure, peach cobbler, any kind of homemade stuff like that. Another one is cold fruit, like cold fresh fruit. You can't get that on the trail.
True.
It's just, and of course, a nice cold cider or PBR is going to go a long way too. You can't go wrong there.
Bring some Hudson North, Tad. There we go, Hudson North, and have them sponsor us.
Yeah, but Jeff was so specific. A PBR, really? All that hike. What is it about a PBR?
I don't know. It's full bodied. I don't know. I'm sure they do come in 12-ounce cans, but it's something about finding a pounder there that you can just down in about 2.5 seconds. It's just it's so good. It's so refreshing, and it's I mean, as long as you don't have 8 of them, it's really what you need when you're out hiking, because it's bread in a can. It's got all the carbohydrates, all the things that you're losing all day long.
So what you're saying is that if I attach like a PBR to the back of my backpack and I'm like running ahead of you and stuff, you'll chase after me like, give me that.
I swear to God, when we were in where were we? In the Smokies, and we were coming up on Newfound Gap, there was a sign that said Trail Magic ahead. And the guys I was hiking with at the time, we saw that, and we were all but running to get to Newfound Gap to get there. And every couple hundred yards, there's another sign where it's like ice cold beer and pulled pork sandwiches and fresh fruit. And just like every sign, we're like, go, go, go. Yeah.
I mean,
you can motivate a hiker that way.
All right. I'll have to remember that, because once again, I just think of like Gatorade and water and stuff. But
Stosh, got to up your game, man.
Oh, real food, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I wasn't carrying, but when I went up Balsam Lake, man, I was carrying the heaviest of shit. But excellent. So thank you for the trail magic, Jeff. That's awesome, and glad to hear Long Island hiker Sean was out there. So that's cool.
Yeah. We had a blast.
Bread in a can. That's what you got to bring with you.
Bread in a can. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Tad, what were you up to, buddy?
Oh, so a few of you have noticed I have not been on trail for weeks, and that's because I recently had rotator cuff surgery on June 24th, and I am on the mend. So recently my hiking has consisted of 2 to 3 mile walks in the local town park. And one of the many things I've noticed while hiking or walking in the local town park is I see more wildlife in this local town park than I do when I'm hiking in the Catskills. Okay. Almost guaranteed every time I go there, I see at least one deer, if not many. And the weird thing is these deer, you can get so close to them. It's almost like you can toss them an apple or something. And maybe that's what people do to them. But in the Catskills, you can't do that because they're just not used to, seeing or encountering humans. So my recent gig, and will be for the indefinite future, is, I can't call it hiking, I'll just say walking in the town park. But maybe next week I'll come up with some exciting story about how I picked up a soccer ball for a kid and kicked it back to them during my walk. Okay.
So Tad, are you okay with sharing what happened? Like, do you know what happened with your rotator?
I see the surgeon on Friday. So when people are listening to this on Friday, I will be getting the lowdown of what he saw when he went in and did the surgery. I will say that your rotator cuff consists of 4 muscles involved in the rotation, abduction, yada, yada, yada of your humerus, your upper arm. And of those 4 muscles, I apparently tore completely 2 of them. In fact,
wow.
The 2 largest ones, I totally blew out. And it was such a big blowout, according to my orthopedist, he actually laughed at me, because for a guy my age, it was a pretty significant thing. So at any rate, I put my trust in him, and he, of the 3 people I consulted with, was the one who told me that I would not be happy if I went for the reverse shoulder replacement. That would limit my activities going forward. And while the reconstructive surgery is got a somewhat guarded prognosis, he said it was worth a shot because I wouldn't be happy not taking that shot. So on the 24th, I had the surgery. And on Friday, I'm going to get the lowdown of what he saw, what he did, and what he thinks my recovery is. But in the meantime, not only is this water and cranberry juice I'm drinking, but it's like chock full of peptides that are supposed to make my tendons grow back to where they're supposed to be. So,
good. Well, I'm glad you're on the right
drink
path.
Of choice. Yeah, well, we hope so. If I'm not on the right path, there's always bushwhacking. You know what I'm saying? At least so long as I don't go running around at night in my boxer shorts chasing after bear.
Firing guns.
Yeah.
I mean, that'll be the make sure you have a nanny camera for that, please. I mean, well, that's unfortunate to hear, Tad. I mean, I mean, to be honest, I know the whole story in the background, so I've known it. Then, you know, I guarantee everybody on that listens to the podcast, everybody that's been on, will wish you only the best and that a speedy recovery, and then we can get you back out in the frickin'. Wait a minute. Let me rephrase that. Not back out in the trails. That's bullshit. Back out in the bushwhacking thing. We can hear about your bushwhacking stories.
I hope so. Yeah. So I'm sure some night when we don't have a guest, I'll pinch hit and give you all the details on it. But until then, you're just going to have to keep listening week to week if you want to hear the story, because we're not going to let you know when we're publishing. It's going to be like, like they do on TV, the cliffhanger.
Wait till next. Yeah. Until next time.
To be continued.
Yeah. To be continued.
So Stosh, speaking of hiking, things that I don't do anymore, what have you been up to?
So recently I went up to good old Balsam Lake Mountain. I had on Sunday, I was like, I would like to hike. I really would. It looks to be a good day. The humidity has dropped. The temperature has dropped. So I was like, fucking, let's get out. Let me fucking get out on the trail. Once again, Jeff, I'm getting to that point of life. Once again, you see all these stuff on Instagram and stuff, just saying, stop like avoiding chances and take them. Like you gotta live your life. So that's basically, I was like, I have the opportunity. I'm not going to fucking stay at home. I'm going to go out and hike. So, my plan was, I had two options. I was just like, I'll go up Bramley. Of course, it's right there. Or I'll go up, Balsam Lake Mountain. I was like, I'll shoot for Balsam Lake Mountain. Number one, I didn't get on the road until probably like 10:30. So I didn't reach. When I reach Palmer Hill, which is right above Margaretville, I can see the high peaks. I can see Double Top. I can see Balsam. I can see Balsam Lake, and I can see Graham. And I was like, I will decide there if I can turn back around and go up Bramley, or if I can go back down south in Balsam Lake. So I hit that point, and I was just like, all right. I'm like, I'm guess, it looks like some of them are obscured, but you know what? What the fuck? I'm just going to go. So I headed to Balsam Lake Mountain, and I started my hike at 11:59 a.m. That's a late start. Tad would be like, this is atrocious. That's when I'm getting done with the fucking hike. I'm going to Bread Alone for another coffee on the way home, and then hitting Stewart's at that time as well to get some to eat, maybe some chili or meatballs, But I started the hike. There was only 4 cars in the parking lot. Another couple was starting their hike. And it's funny because one of the guys had those big, huge backpacks that they carry a kid along, but I never saw them. So I was just like, they must have went up the Dry Brook Ridge Trail, which Jeff goes to the north instead of the south. So I took the south trail up the Balsam Lake Mountain, which is a fire tower. So we have beautiful 7 fire towers in the Catskills that offer beautiful unobstructed views. And went up there. It was nice and slick here and there. Tad, my objective was to get to the fire tower in under an hour. Guess what I got there up there in time?
42 minutes.
Nope. I hit the trail junction at 44 minutes. And I was like, shit, I have 16 minutes to get up to the top. That's 3/4 of a mile with pretty shitty gain. Like you got some good gain. Yeah. I didn't make it. 1 hour and 2 minutes. I was slacking.
I thought you were going to tell me you found a kid on the trail as you were walking. You're like, buddy, you dropped something.
Oh, no. I'd just be like, hey there, buddy. And I keep going. I got to hit this time. Yeah. Like I got to get up there.
So, but was it a hot and humid day?
It was, dude. Yeah. Like stale air, no air movement whatsoever till you got to the tower. Yeah. It sucked.
Were you pulling down a lot of fluid on the way up?
Absolutely. I had my pack. Once again, this is a day hike. My pack was at 32 pounds.
Yeah. Ooh, gross.
Ouch.
Exactly. I had.
Well, dude, you better check out those rotor cuffs because heavy packs like that apparently don't do well with your your rotator cuffs. But that's another story, as we've already heard.
Yeah. It was, I had a lot. I had my food in there with ice packs to keep it cool because it was a good sandwich. I had my Nalgene bottle. I had my electrolyte bottle of smart water. I had 3 liters of water. I also had my Arizona iced tea. I had my first aid kit. I had my rain gear, and I had backup clothes. So once again, I don't care about, going light, because eventually sometime I'm going to go into a backpacking thing of where it's pretty long distance, and I like to be comfortable. So and then, Tad, you and I, once again, if something happens on the trail with somebody else, I can give that along to somebody else, and they could, be comfortable on the trail. So I didn't mind. So I get up to the top. The view is somewhat open, and I see at the trailhead register, I already know who's at the top, but Jim Boughton and Margaret are up there.
Yeah.
So good old Jim Boughton is up there doing his stewarding, and I yell to the top of the fire tower. I'm just like, there's rocks on the goddamn trail. Get them off the trail. He's like, the DEC is coming in 7 years. And I was like, oh, nice. So, and then I asked him, I'm just like, you got any mountain lions up here that I've attacked? I heard there's a containment area south of here. And he was laughing. But he asked me where I came from, and I said, oh yeah, I did the loop. And he's like looking at me, he's like, the Balsam Lake loop? I'm like, no, I did double top, Graham, and then came over here, went back down. His eyes was just like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, he was just like, no, you didn't do that. And I was like, I'm just kidding. He lit up.
Those were the days.
Yeah,
I used to do that hike all the time. It was one of my favorites.
Yeah, it was fantastic hike. The last time I was there, 3.5 feet of snow. So I took some pictures of before and after, so I should compare them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the last time I was there was that super cold day we had back in January, with not only was it super, super cold, but there was just really, really big drifts going right up the center of the trail. And if you were on the lee side of the drift line, it was really soft and not compacted, and you had to bust through it, or you could get on the windward side of the drift and almost stay on top most of the way, but it was just bitter cold going up there that day.
Yeah.
And that was my last time up there. I didn't get to see Jim Boughton. How's Jim doing? Good?
Good. He's I mean, they were doing stewarding, so they're doing some amazing stuff. And we chatted, just about local stuff, what's going on with the DEC, what do we think? Stuff like that. And, the cabin up there is been closed for over 6 years now, and it is a historical landmark. And the DEC has not had a plan to do the floor on that. The floor is decaying, so nobody can go inside. It's a historical spot. People have been up there since the 1960s, but even before then, and they haven't had anything. And apparently, somebody quoted it for around, maybe max of around $50K. And the DEC sent somebody up there, and it was quoted at $800,000.
Yeah. What? Well, those people sound like the same people that Donald Trump hired to build his ballroom.
Yeah, or the freaking repainted the goddamn thing. But anyway, get away from politics. But yeah, so we chatted. Views were in and out. It was pretty cool to see the rain coming in, but we had a lot of first people there. So this was their first time ever in a fire tower. And I was just like, I apologize, even though I'm not the steward there, but it's just like, I'm sorry you don't have views here. But this lady was just like, it's so beautiful to see the rolling clouds come in and disappear. And stuff. So it was a good time. It rained only when you were up in the tower. Didn't rain down below. So it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
And what were you drinking again?
I had up there at Arizona iced tea.
That was a hard Arizona iced tea.
I wish.
Right. Raining in the tower, but not below. Yeah. What do you think of that, Jeff? You believe that story?
I don't. We're supposed to have opinions. I think I'm just going to sit this one out.
Okay. Keeping your gun holstered. That's okay.
I'll wait for the bear.
Yeah. There's no bears, no. But fantastic time with Jim and Margaret. Just talked about the Catskills, left some stickers on their car, met some good people. The one thing I got to say.
What do you mean by that? You left stickers on their car. Did you peel off the backing and then put them on their cars, or did you leave the backing on and put them on
I just stuck them right in the window.
Okay.
Yeah. I did not stickered that, but I should have.
Mm-hmm. People tag us on Instagram. We should tag them with stickers in the parking lot.
True.
Yeah.
No,
True.
I've got to tell you guys, my friend and her family, or at least her husband, they're up in. I have to look real quick. I'll get the name of the town, but really close to y'all. And she texted me just a day ago, 2 days ago, and it's your. I don't think I can get it on the camera here, but the Inside the Line, the Catskills Mountain podcast sticker. She's like, I'm talking to a guy at the store. I was like, hey, my friend's going to be on their podcast. And he's like, take the sticker, spread the word. So your name is out there.
Sounds like Camp Catskill.
Yeah.
Nice. So good. That's so good. That's so good to hear. Yeah. So the only thing I want to say, Tad and Jeff, that this was odd. I come back down and Jim and Margaret are the only ones up there, and they're the only ones at the parking lot. A lady pulls in and she asked me how the trail was. Was it muddy? I'm like, it's not bad. It's just a little wet. And she's just like, I can't wait to get up. And I'm like, where are you going? The fire tower? She's like, yeah. And I was like, excellent. It's going to be a great hike. It's very muggy. Then she, Ted, where do you think she heads?
She heads in the other direction?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And she said she's been up here a dozen times. And she heads over in the Drybrook Ridge area. And I was just like, hey, just want to let you know, ma'am, the fire tower's the other way. She's just like, oh, and she's just like, oh, I get lost in these situations. I'm like, well, I hope I didn't hear you lost in the ranger report soon.
Wow. I would have assumed she was going that way just to relieve herself before she got in the more popular trail.
True. I might have fucked that up. Sorry. Whatever.
Oh, wow.
So yes, great time. The forecast wasn't as great as I thought it would be. So, but I had a good time. Got up there, got to talk. Got some mountain air, got some mountain time. So sweat my ass off, sweaty, but had a good time. Arrived home at 5 o'clock, had dinner, then went to sleep 2 hours later.
Sounds like a great day.
Crazy.
Yeah. So moving on. Catskill news, definitely volunteer. New York, New Jersey Trail Conference, 3500 Club, Catskill Trail Crew, Catskill Mountain Center, Visitor Center, Jolly Rovers Crew Troop, Beverly Mountain Fire Tower. If you want stickers, get a hold of me or go to Camp Catskill. Also, New York, New Jersey Trail Conference, July 11th and 12th is doing an Eastern Hemlocks participating data collection on Baleville Mountain of the Appalachian Trail in Warwick, New York. Ted, that seems pretty cool. Thanks for putting that on there. What is this? I'm guessing they're just going to do an observation of the Eastern Hemlocks.
Yeah, it's like we had that fellow earlier this year telling us about the summer he went out and collected data, and it very well might be that that's what they're doing, is recruiting people to go out and collect data about the health or lack of health of the Eastern Hemlocks. So yeah, that caught my attention because I love hemlock forests, and I thought some of our listeners might want to do that as a side gig as opposed to go out and doing, some Catskill hiking. Go over and check that out on July 11th and 12th. And it looks like that's a reoccurring thing throughout the summer. But check the schedule and try to get out there and do that with the trail conference.
Yeah, it's great to learn new stuff, and to identify, and we can help out Dr. Kudish as any way possible to get his data. So,
yeah.
Also, the Catskill Lean-To Crew is July 11th and 12th, which is this weekend, a Saturday and Sunday. It's doing the Bel Air ski area for trail maintenance. I'm guessing that's the Giggle Hollow area. What else is around there? What's that crazy elevation gain? Shit.
Yeah, but there's
several areas. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I'm not sure which lean-to that is because I didn't look at this one and look it up, but I know there's a few lean-tos up there.
Oh yeah, right up at the top of Bel Air Mountain. Okay. That's right at one of the top of the ski runs. Shit, I know. I'm sorry, Ted. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but there's a few of them, in that area, and that's kind of an interesting area as you head back east towards Big Indian and Fir, because you have that long stretch of old growth forest.
Yeah, that's a Giggle Hollow Lost Clove area.
Yeah, and in this time of year, though, that whole ridge just gets in that segment gets really overgrown. But
Nice. Yeah.
it's cool. Definitely worth hiking.
Yeah, definitely. So get together with the Catskill Lean True crew. We'll see and we'll keep you up to date of what's going on. So guys, how about we break it into the weather forecast? Here is your weekend weather forecast, which we know is usually completely inaccurate. Sorry about last week. So yeah. On Friday, July 10th, expect a warm and humid day across the Catskill High Peaks with a mix of sun and clouds. There is a chance for scattered afternoon showers and thunderstorms, especially later in the day, so you should definitely keep an eye on the sky. Summit temperatures will range from 70 to 75 degrees, with the humidity staying in the upper 80s. On Saturday, July 11th, a cold front will bring in cooler, more comfortable conditions to the high peaks. Expect a mix of sunshine and clouds with only a slight chance of an isolated shower. Visibility should improve throughout the day, making for excellent hiking conditions. I said this last Sunday and it was completely inaccurate. I'm sorry. Summit temperatures will range from 62 to 68 degrees. On Sunday, July 12th, another beautiful day is expected with partly to mostly sunny skies and low humidity. Light winds and comfortable temperatures should make this the best hiking day of the weekend with excellent conditions for long hikes and summit views. Summit temperatures will range from 64 to 70 degrees. Looks to be a great weekend to get out some bags, some peaks, but don't forget to be safe, be prepared, and don't become tomorrow's rescue story. Back to you guys. We'll see about that weather forecast. Whoever comes up with that is held responsible for what happens this weekend. So awesome. So let's get on to the last set of sponsors, and then we'll get on finally to Jeff. Jeff's patiently awaiting, drinking like 7 different wines because he's just like, I've had enough. Let's get on to me.
Yeah. He's moved from the straw to the hose.
Yeah, he's
Got the
pouring
box,
it.
he's got the box mounted on the wall. Big
Fill out
valve
the
on the hose.
bathtub
Yeah.
at this moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Little gin in the bathtub.
Yeah,
Right.
put your thing on low, and you'll hear the slurping. Nice. So discover Camp Catskill in Taylorsville, your ultimate hiking store. Find top quality gear, apparel, and accessories for all your outdoor adventures. Our expert staff is to help every hiker from beginners to seasoned pros. They also carry a unique variety of Catskill souvenirs and gifts. Visit us online at campcatskill.co or in the store to gear up for your next journey. Adventure starts at Camp Catskill. Also, embark on a transformative journey with Another Summit. Another Summit is dedicated to serving veterans and first responders with free outdoor activities. Activities like walks in nature, paddling, hiking, and even backpacking. Join our supportive community to rejuvenate in nature's embrace. Experience camaraderie, adventure, and the healing at no cost. Take your next step with Another Summit and ascend to new heights of resilience and joy. Apply today on anothersummit.org. All right, so let's get on to the guest of the night.
Let's go.
So tonight, Jeff Lewis joins us to talk about his hike on the Appalachian Trail and also his new book that is coming out in September called MidLifeHikeThis. Now, we talked about this before. It kind of probably has to do with a midlife crisis. And I would say most of the listeners here, Tad, are probably within that age to have a midlife crisis.
Yeah. Well, I see broadly defined. It's 40 to 65. And according to our fact checkers at Google AI, 45 to early 50s. Is kind of the meat of that bandwidth.
So
I'm an early bloomer.
An early bloom. So Jeff, once again, it's great to have you on the show. Welcome to the show. We can't wait to hear your story.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah. So how about we start it off, give a little background about yourself, go all out. You can go when you were a kid to up now and such.
Yeah. So I grew up in the foothills of the Appalachian. We still haven't decided how we're going to call it yet, but grew up in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains in southern Ohio, fairly close to Hocking Hills State Park. I don't know if you've ever heard of that or had any guests on there. It's like where Grandma Gatewood's favorite place to be. It was like her happy place. Absolutely gorgeous. You would never believe that it's in Southern Ohio. It's just fantastic. So I grew up very much where the outdoors was a part of my life. Very fortunate to have parents that thought it was important that we not just spent time outdoors in our day-to-day locally, but we went to national parks. I think I went to almost 40 states before I was maybe 16. I mean, I was just very lucky where the outdoors was a big part of my life. Fast forward to go through college and get to that point where a lot of 20-somethings, early 20-somethings get to, where it's like, well, I'm in debt. I don't have health insurance. I better get a job. So I went and got a job with a nonprofit that was, they were courting me pretty aggressively to join the team. So I did. I said I'd give it 6 months. 6 months turned into 3 years. I got a job opportunity in Pennsylvania, outside of Reading, in Berks County, and did that for 3 years. Then got an opportunity in Baltimore. At this point, I thought, we'll do Baltimore for maybe 2 years and I'm done. Like I did this early career thing. I want to live my dream. I want to do something. 2 years turned to 3, turned to 6, turned to 10. So at this point, I'm 16 years into a career that I said I was going to do for 6 months. That's the thing. I didn't hate the career. I really liked it. I got to work with amazing people. I got to meet very philanthropic, very kind individuals who wanted to help causes. And I worked with a youth serving organization, and a lot of people passionate about young people having the right start. But at a certain point, I realized that I needed to listen to a part of me that has been screaming at me for at least 16 years, probably 20 years, probably when I was in college being a knucklehead. And I finally said, you know what, I need to try what I think I'm capable of doing, whatever that happens to be. And I'll flash back for a second as it relates to the AT. I used to go to a summer camp when I was a kid, and one year, 2 of my favorite counselors weren't there that summer. And I was like, well, where are they? And someone told me they're doing something called a through hike of the Appalachian Trail. I had no idea what that was, but I knew if these 2 badass guys were willing to give up a summer at camp to go do this thing that I didn't even understand, it must be pretty awesome. And so I started researching it a little bit and reading books, and that kind of started the fire in my belly. Like that's when I was like, one day I'm going to do that thing. So back to almost present day, couple years ago, I pulled the trigger. I put a date on the calendar. I said, this is my last day with this career that I'm in, because the very next day I'm going to Georgia and I'm going to hike the AT. And that gets us up to about 15, 16 months ago. But I'm sure we'll get into all the rest of the fun stuff throughout the course of the evening. But yeah, hiked the AT for 5 months, had a terrible experience after the trail. And that's one of the pieces I put in the book that I thought was so important, is most hiking stories or adventure stories or memoirs, they end at the pinnacle. They end at the victory moment. And for anyone that's done a long trail or a big adventure, the gal who went from California to Hawaii in a rowboat, I mean, you can't just come back to society and fit back in. It just doesn't happen. So I wanted to make sure people heard the raw story about the uncomfortable and kind of scary situation that I'd put myself in trying to reintegrate into society. And then a book came out of it, and now I'm on a podcast with these 2 goobers and having a great day.
Look who you're calling a goober here, okay?
I was going to say, that's a goober. Nice. Yeah. That sounds like a good old 1980s insult.
Yeah. So Jeff, you talk about reentering society. Our listeners know, but I'm just going to throw it out for you. I have 2 daughters. My oldest, they're both out of college. I'm proud to say that I got them through college debt-free. And my oldest daughter is entering year 3, living as a dirtbag rock climber out of the back of her Subaru Crosstrek when she's in the States, and in a tent when she's abroad. But when I pick her up at the airport, when she comes back to town to visit her folks, she goes through this whole routine like she's in the space shuttle re-entering society. And one of the things she wants to make clear to her mother, my wife, and I is that she lives in a world where sunrise and sunset are the two most important parts of the day. Noon, 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock, that means nothing to her, right? Time, other than maybe temperature, it's sunrise, sunset. So what you say totally resonates with me. And if there ever comes a point in time where she does give up her life as a dirtbag rock climber and decide to like throw an anchor down someplace and hang out for someplace for a while, maybe I'll give her a copy of your book so she can read that chapter on how to get through those rapids of when you hit the beach again.
No, that's good on her too. I mean, that's awesome. So many folks that live the dirtbag life they're in their 20s or even beyond. Society frowns upon them, but society sucks. Society's not happy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Society's broke and sad, and they hate their job, and they wish they could do that.
Who made these rules? Who made these rules that you need to work 5 days a week, 9 to 5, 35 hours? And maybe if you're lucky, you get to punch out at age 65. Who made those rules? Where's it written that you have to live your life that way? Right. And it does go back to the Industrial Revolution, the origins of the work week. But yeah, I'll say that I instilled in both of my kids, and my domesticated child does work in an area where she does take time off. She'll work a week, won't work a week as a registered nurse, so she gets plenty of time off and travel. But like I said, the older one, the feral child, if you will, I've learned now when people, like a couple of years ago, somebody said to me, "Gee, Tad, I really would have thought your daughter would have been more ambitious
than climbing mountains and rocks."
Yeah, and living out of her car. And so this fellow just got done telling me at the age 66 that he and his wife just started on their bucket list. And so I responded to him, maybe too abruptly and rudely, but I said to him, "Neil, you just got done telling me that you waited until age 66 to start your bucket list. My kid started hers at age 24.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'm interested to hear your story. I'll stop talking. I'm going to lean back. I'll switch to Coke and let it roll.
So you're Jeffrey. Is it Jeffrey or Jeffrey?
It depends on. I was Bluey for so long, I forgot what my government name was, but I go by Jeff, but it's Jeffrey.
Okay. So
REY.
Your company, Strategic Advisory LLC. You want to tell us about that, and then we can go in on how successful it was, and then how you decided to be like, "Fuck this, I'm going on the AT." So I heard that Strategic Advisory LLC is very important, actually.
Well, whoever told you that, listen to them and have them tell all their friends, and to go to the website and book a consultation, and I'll take their money happily to help them out. But no, it comes back to the Tad, what you mentioned, the analogy of the rocket ship coming back in through the atmosphere. A good friend of mine, actually the guy who designed the cover of my book, he used that exact same analogy. He was out on a 3-week rafting trip on the Grand Canyon. And he said he got home and he was just so like, it just didn't feel real. Like he was alive for 3 weeks, and now he's going back to this thing that just feels so fake. And he said his friend called him and asked him, how's he doing? And he says, "I feel like I'm just trying not to burn up upon reentry." And that's exactly how it feels, because you're in the heavens and in with the gods, whatever you're doing, whatever your happy place is, and you've got to come back to this society in this world that frankly isn't. It's not real. It's not how
Sucks.
we were. Yeah, like it's. I was telling a friend the other day. I wrote a little piece about captivity and how smart animals in captivity in a zoo. The big cats what do? They walk in circles. You can see the dirt tracks around their cages because they lose their minds, because they're not built for that. They're built to be free and to hunt and to explore, and no fences. And it's kind of strange to think that humans, arguably the most intelligent mammal, or at least the most intelligent, up there with the most intelligent creatures, that we're built for these cages that we build ourselves. But all that to say, I don't know that I'm the best person to tell how to come back from a big adventure like that, because I didn't do it very well. I went into a pretty dark place, and I didn't really want to talk about it and didn't want to admit it for the longest time, because I've been pretty successful in life as far as what LinkedIn says, or what people that are playing the game. Nothing wrong with the game, just I didn't fit in when I got back, and I had a really hard time. And so I was very intentional about meeting with friends and my former board members and just people in my network, just to talk and just try to force myself back into society, unsuccessfully for several months. And where I'm getting at with this is, there were great people who offered me jobs, and I was like, I can't go back to that. I can't go back to 40, 50, 60 hours a week answering emails for a living. I just can't do it. Not now, at least. And one of the individuals I met with was running a nonprofit. It was pretty new to the nonprofit world, had been in business development in the for-profit world for the longest time. And he's like, man, I just need help fundraising. Can you come on and help just raise some money? And I was like, I don't really want to do that. But through the conversation, what came out was, I finally said, can I be honest with you? And he's like, yeah. I said, you don't have a fundraising problem. You've got a leadership problem. You've got a structure problem. And so many organizations think they're just chasing the dollar all the time, where if you build the right systems, the money, it shows up. If you help enough people, you don't have to worry about money. You just need to connect people and build structures, build funnels, and get the right people involved, because people give to people. People are attracted to people. It's not always the calls. It's not always the organization. So ultimately what happened is, after probably 3 different lunches with this guy, he said, all right, I hear what you're saying. What do you charge to put this in place? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I'll get back to you on that one. So I went and ran some numbers and just talked to some friends who were in consulting world, and came back to him with a proposal and a price. He said, let's do it. Let's go. And then within a month or 2 later, I had another friend reach out and said, hey, I heard what you're doing. Can you do that for me? And I was like, well, sure. And so at that point, a few months in, I thought, well, I'll start a company. So I incorporated strategic advisory, and I'm having a lot of fun with it, because I get to really help people solve problems that they didn't even know they had sometimes. But also, and it might be selfish, but I think it's more true to who I am. I'm able to protect my time and focus on the high value activities where I can help people, rather than just punching a clock and doing a job for 40 plus hours a week. I can
goddamn corporate America. That's what it is. Yeah, you do it for the self and the people. It's just,
yeah. I'm hung up on where Jeff said, solving problems that people didn't know that they had. Right? You said that, right? That's what you do.
Yeah. Well, the people they think they have a problem, but the problem they're looking at it's usually the symptom that they're looking at. It's not the disease.
Yeah.
It's not the thing that's causing the symptom. And I spent 16 years in nonprofit leadership and fundraising, and I made a lot of mistakes, and I did things the wrong way a lot, many, many times for years. And so what I'm able to do is offer them my experience and suggestions, rather than just go in and fix everything for them. I'm just like, well, if I were you, here's what I would do. And people, I've been very pleasantly surprised. They're very happy to say, hey, I'll bring you on to help with this project. And if I don't have to go through all the crap that you had to go through, I'd love to have you on the team. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm a serial hobbyist. I always have 6 things on the table that I'm looking at one time. So I knew I didn't want to go all in on one particular thing, but by doing this consulting gig, I'm able to help some people, as you said, solve problems they didn't know they had, but also still go on some fun adventures and still give back to the hiking and trail community and the outdoor community. I'm still able to, play some music here and there, and just try to be more aligned with who I've become over the years instead of trying to fit into a mold that never really felt right.
So that sounds like a successful career. Now, what made you be like, screw this? I'm going to hop on the AT and ditch everything that I have worked hard for and just fucking walk for 2,160 miles.
So I'd been thinking about it for a while, and I'd been in the same, like, for most of my career, it'd been 3 years in one position, promoted to the next one, promoted to the next one, promoted to the next one. And I was in the same role. It started shortly before COVID, but then through COVID, things were weird. So I always had something to do and always a new challenge. But as we came out of that, I realized I was happy with the work we were doing. I had an incredible team, but the team was so successful that I felt like they didn't need me anymore. I felt like I was just steering the ship. They were doing all the work, and which I was grateful for. They're amazing people, but I realized a couple things. One, I'm kind of in the way. Like, someone else needs this opportunity that I currently have, and I don't want to do the next thing that my career path was taking me toward. And I'll tell you a quick little story. I went to a national conference for our organization down in Orlando, Florida, and me and my close work friend were there. We brought our wives down, and we're there the weekend before the conference starts, and we're hanging out at the lazy river in the pool. And the day before the conference starts, all these people start coming in to the conference, and they're all 10 to 20 years older than me. And they all, like, you could just tell. My wife even said it. She was like, wow, that guy looks like he works for your organization. And I was like, yeah, he does, because he does. And I realized that the people that were walking into that conference were good people, but that was not who I wanted to be in 10 years. And if I didn't make a change, that's exactly who I was going to be in 10 years. And so it was like right then, this was May of 2024, like, all the indecision that I've been wrestling with was crystal clear. I was like, I'm done. A year from now, I will not be doing this. I'm not going to abandon ship. I'm going to make sure the transition's smooth. I'm going to finish what I promised, but I've got to be true to myself. I've got to, at least, even if I fail, not just the AT, but starting a business or traveling the country or doing something wild, I need to try. I owe it to myself to give myself the opportunity to fail. And if I fail, so what? I'll try again and I'll fail better next time. Like, I've got to do the thing. So I spent that next, 10 months planning my exit. And fortunately, it worked out pretty well and got my successor in place. I go into the details in the book, not in super detail, but kind of tell you the full story. But in short, I realized that I need to give myself the opportunity to do this and to sing the song I know I can sing. And so April 1st, 2025, went to Georgia, stepped foot on Springer, and
April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's the thing. When I told people the date, they're like, is this a joke? Like, you're going to screw with us on this one? But no, April Fool's Day, this fool hit the trail, and 157 days later, stood on top of Katahdin. And it's like, this isn't like, look how great I am. It's, anyone can do this. It's illness or injury are the two things that take people off trail. If your mindset is good and like you're going to reach Katahdin, anyone can do it. And I never had a doubt. It was harder than I thought it would be in a number of ways, but yeah, it was, it's, last thing I'll say, and I'll give you guys a chance to chat, but people would ask me when I got back, what was the hardest part? And I was like, well, this day sucked and this was garbage, but really the hardest part it's cliche, but it's the very first step. It's not the first step on trail, but it's saying, I'm going to do this. The date is on the calendar. Everyone knows, my family knows, my boss knows, my friends know, and I'm going to do it. And by them knowing, they're holding me accountable. Like, I'm going to blow my life up. I better do this thing I said I was going to do.
Yeah. If not now, when? So, all right, Jeff, before we get into the story behind the trail name Bluey, I want to know, are you familiar with Jack Kerouac's quote?
I know a few of them, but go ahead.
Where he says, because in the end, you won't remember the time you spent working in an office or mowing your lawn. Climb that goddamn mountain.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Have you heard that before?
I hadn't heard that quote, not that specific one, but I love it. And that's part of it. And we'll talk about this, I'm sure, but I lost a very dear friend in his 40s at 43 years old, very unexpectedly. And he and I had always talked about, he was going to retire at 49 years old and we were going to hike the AT. And like, we talked about it for years, and he couldn't because he's not here with us anymore. And losing Eric is his name, and losing Eric at such a young age was just like, he thought he was doing the right thing by putting in the days and the hours and the weeks and the months and the years so that he could be free. But climb the damn mountain, right? Like, no one on their deathbed sits there and says, like, man, I probably could have worked a few more hours on average every week. Like,
right.
Right.
Yeah. Died with a little more money in the bank.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Fuck yeah. Fuck
that.
So,
fuck that.
All right. So let's talk about the name Bluey, your trail name. How did that come about?
This is a fun one. So I'll be honest with you. Before I got on trail, I thought trail names were a little silly. I was like, what's the point? And they're all dumb, and like they're goofy stuff. They're also just like one thing that happened one day, and now that's their identity. But I wasn't against having one. I was just like, if one fits, I'll take it, and if it doesn't, whatever. I'm Jeff from Maryland. Let's go.
Yeah.
So I think I was about 12 days in, got into Franklin, North Carolina, and there's a great outfitter there. Can I give a shout out? Outdoor 76 in Franklin, North Carolina. Wonderful people. It's a great place. They've got a little hiker lounge downstairs. They take care of their thru hikers. They've got great gear. They've got a bar attached to it, and they have.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun. So I was there on a weekend on a Saturday, and they did a hiker trivia night with a hiker cookout. Free food, free trivia. We bought our own beers, but had a great time. And at the end of the night, well, I've got to tell you one detail ahead of time. Before I got on trail, I bought a Patagonia R1 zip hoodie. They're great for whether you're a runner or a hiker. It's a great midweight layer. But the thing was obnoxiously blue. It was beyond blue, but it was on sale. And so it's like, well, I'll get it. And I'm going to be in the woods. Who cares? So I'm wearing this ridiculous blue hoodie at this hiker trivia cookout thing. And after the trivia, we're hanging out. I'm talking to the shop owner. We're having beers. And earlier that day at the outfitter, they had this beautiful burnt orange hoodie, the exact same thing, but in a color that I really liked. And so it was on sale, but I was talking to the shop owner and I was like, come on, man, why don't you give it to me for like 50% off or 70% off or 100% off. Come on. And it was fun, but either I wore him down or he was just tired of listening to me. And he was just like, all right, man, here's the deal. He calls his daughter over. She's 8 years old. She's the cutest thing. And he said, all right, if you can beat her in rock, paper, scissors, then you got the hoodie and this conversation's over. And I was like, okay. And he's like, but if she beats you, she picks your trail name, and whatever it is, that's your trail name. And I was like, let's go. Let's do it. So we played best of 5. I'm guessing you're going to figure out how this ends, but in round 5.
Yeah, we know the ending.
We know it. Yeah, it's kind of obvious.
So what we want to know, did you go down like 3 three
Yeah,
straight, or did it go? Did it go to
no.
the fifth round?
No. I was up 1. I was up 2. Then I was back up to 1, and then
Then
we were tied.
then the 8-year-old comes in, right?
Oh yeah. So she
Turns
was.
it on.
Oh yeah, and we had there was, I don't know, maybe 30 hikers in the building, and they're all gathered around. They're cheering. People. I mean, it was a scene.
People
it
were
really
wagering on it.
Oh,
yeah, right.
absolutely.
Vegas
right.
odds makers are calling in, right?
Yeah, we
Gatorades.
had a bookie behind the bar. It was
Okay.
good, but no. So she beats me, and she didn't hesitate. She was just like, "Bluey, you're Bluey."
Oh yeah. So tell me the last round. I'm guessing hiker versus an 8-year-old. I bet you picked rock.
I did, and she picked paper, and she
Paper,
covered my
because
rock.
she's an
Yeah.
8-year-old. That's what was safe for her, is the paper. So she beat you, rock, paper, scissors, because like a true hiker, you picked like a rock. She goes, all right. So you wear the trail name, and that's what stuck with you the whole way. Right?
Well, I thought about losing it. I really did, because I hated it. I thought it was such a lame name, and some of the I wasn't really part of a tramily at that point yet. I had some people I'd been hiking with, and early on in the trail, you hike with a lot of people, and most of the people who knew me at that point, they were, "Oh, the Bluey, how you doing, Bluey?" That night, and just kind of giving me shit a little bit. But the next morning, I was hiking with a friend, and we're maybe 2 or 3 miles outside of Franklin, and the shop owner and his daughter are out for a trail run, and they pass us on trail. And she's just like, "Oh my God, it's Bluey." And she runs up and gives me a big old hug. And I was like, I can't not have this name at this point. Like it's meant to be.
Yeah.
So the guys and gals around me started calling me Bluey, and that's what stuck.
Wow. Is there any people, like, when they're on the Appalachian Trail, don't have a trail name, and they're just like, you come up and like, "Hey, I'm Jeff," and they're like, "What the fuck, Jeff? That's lame. Like, what is your real name?"
No, absolutely. There's some people who are just like, they just are against it. They're just like, "I am Bob," or "I am Jim," and that's fine. Whatever. I mean, that's the cool thing about hikers, is that they're all just real people, and they're all out there for themselves, but more just to connect with the community and with nature. And I don't know, I didn't meet many pretentious people. Like if someone's like, "Well, there was a hiker named Just Joe." Like, I guess he got tired of saying "I'm Just Joe" so long that his trail name became Just Joe. So there are people that just keep a government name, but I think most people, I don't know what the percentage is, but I'd say 95+% of through hikers on any long trail end up with a trail name.
Oh, interesting. I'm not, once again, I just don't see. I mean, I haven't met anybody that was just like, "Hey, my name's like you said, Bob," and then. But I've always met people who have the trail name, so it'd be interesting to be like, "Hey, my name's." I mean, Tad is kind of like somebody would think that was a formal or a trail name, but
like Tadpole.
Yeah, like yeah, that or like Stanley. My real name is Stanley. So it'd be like, "Hey, I'm Stanley." They're like, "What that is lame as heck."
Danny Davis gave me a trail name.
What do you get?
Oh yeah,
he gave me 2 trail names. I'll give you one of them. A tad too much.
That's good.
Yeah.
If you hike with me, you know why.
Okay. A tad too much of talking.
Yeah, when I run into people on the trail, man, I've got some good trail bits. Yeah, so I can go on. But as we all know on the podcast, I did notice, Stosh, that when I wasn't on, the average episode length was about an hour shorter.
Yeah, you freaking
just throwing that out there. Yeah, I'm good for an hour of nonsense. So.
I think this one might be a tad too much. That might be
the
name of the
episode. Hey, you just become red.
But hey, what's with trail names? What's just so absurd, oddly, like inversely absurd on trail, is when you meet someone and you know their trail name, and then you get to town and you check into a hotel or something, and they're like, "Hey, I'm George Thompson," and you're like, "What? No, you're not."
Yeah, right.
First off, you're no way you're George, but no, you're Spigot or whatever his name is.
Yeah, right. Like a week down the road, you actually know their name, and you're just like, "What? That doesn't fit you." So thinking of fit you. I mean, Sean, you said you had a Tramley, Long Island hiker. So tell us about your time with Sean. How much time did you spend along with time with Sean, Long Island hiker?
Yeah. So
PMA. Sorry.
Exactly. Because I think when we were talking over email early on, picking dates and stuff for the podcast, I wrote his name as SEAN because I'd never spelled Sean before because I've never called him Sean. He's always been PMA, which stands for, you've had him on the show, it stands for positive mental attitude. But here's the interesting thing about PMA is I didn't actually connect with him until we were at Boots Off Hostel, which is in Watauga Dam in Tennessee. So it's, several hundred miles in, or at least a few hundred miles in at that point. And the crazy part is I think I had probably seen him, but I never talked to him because he's a lot of fun on the podcast and he's a lot of fun when you get him one-on-one, but in groups, PMA is he likes to keep to himself. Especially early on, he's not reclusive. He's an amazing person, but he's just not the guy who's going to go around introducing himself to everybody. And so I think I remember him camping, when we were at shelters, he'd camp a couple hundred yards away. He was very private. He wanted his space. Or he would camp before the shelter or right after the shelter, the next water source. But when I met him, actually got to know him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Bluey, I remember you from 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago." And when it hit me, yeah, I probably had been around him. How many other amazing humans had I not connected with? Because the cliche, hike your own hike. I was hiking my own hike, and I was just, if someone was with me, I'd hike with them. And if they weren't, I'm hiking by myself. But it was interesting right around the time, when I met him there at Watauga, I was pretty much in the early stages of a Tramley at that point. There were 3 or 4 of us that were almost maybe 5 of us at that point that were together more than we weren't. We weren't like an official Tramley yet. We were just hiking together. And shortly after that, we got to Damascus. And I took a 0. I was like, guys, I want to be alone. I love you all, but I'm taking an alone 0. And PMA had met up or had kind of stuck with the rest of the crew at that point, and we were separated for maybe another week or 2. And when we reconnected at Trail Days in Damascus, which is the big AT festival that they do, 25,000 hikers and former hikers come back to this tiny town of a couple thousand people and having a huge festival. I mean, Trail Days it's amazing. It's a whole weekend celebration and kind of a reunion of sorts. But when I got to Trail Days, PMA was a permanent fixture with the Tramley that I had been a day or 2 behind because I took a 0. And the interesting part was he didn't replace me. It's just he was just there. And then when I caught back up, I was just there. And I use the analogy in the book of a slinky dog. That's kind of how our Tramley was.
Wow.
Some people get a day or 2 ahead and a couple people behind, then you're together. And then, and we did that for the next 1,500 miles.
Wow.
Until the end, by probably Pennsylvania, PMA and I were hiking together a lot, sometimes just the 2 of us for a week plus at a time. And we really bonded. And I love every member of my Tramley dearly. These people, I never served in the military, but I understand why our veterans have bonds they have with the people they served with, because you see people at their highest highs and their lowest lows, and you live those experiences with them, and you really get to know who they are, and you get to love them in a deeper way. But I feel like PMA and I connected very, very well, very, very close. And yeah, but by the time we got to the Whites, or got through the Whites into Maine, there were 7 of us at that point, and we hiked every day together. Sometimes we were a few miles apart, but we saw each other every day. We summited together on September 4th at Katahdin. Yeah. It was so special.
That's crazy.
Is there a little ceremony that your Tramley has when you come together, like a wedding ceremony? Is there a Trailney ceremony?
Hi.
Until death does us part, or
part of that is classified, and part of it is even on this podcast. Some of it's not even appropriate. No, I'm kidding, but
that's all right.
No,
nobody listens, so you can speak freely, Jeff.
True.
No, The summit itself, the final 6.5 miles of the AT from Katahdin Springs at the base of the mountain to Baxter Point, Baxter Peak, which is the top where the sign is, where the Katahdin sign is. That entire thing is a ceremony. It's just, I mean, I've got chills right now talking about it. It's
Yeah.
Every 10 minutes I was fighting back tears. It's so special. You just spent 5 months for us. Some people do it in 3. Some people, Tara Dower did it in 40 days. She's a monster.
Wow.
But it's just such a it's such a buildup at the end. And I got to tell you, it doesn't disappoint. It's one of the most spectacular mountains I've ever climbed, because it almost doesn't belong in Maine. It just sticks out of the swamp. It's just it's just massive. It's a mile high, and the ground below it's 1,000 feet above sea level, and it's a monument. And you just get to climb this monument, and it's such a spectacular finish. So yeah, that's a ceremony in itself. And there were a lot of hugs and a lot of tears at the top of the mountain, but it wasn't loud. It was respectful. It was almost spiritual. It's so special. But I mentioned earlier in the episode a couple weeks ago, we got together, the 7 of us plus 3 or 4 other friends we'd met along the trail to do the trail magic in Front Royal. And what a reunion that was. I mean, it's just like so special to get to spend time with these people again, who you love at a level that you don't often get and especially in captive society.
So why is it you feel that you and the others in your tramley clicked?
I think because we were so different. I mean, we were the same. We had similar values. We all had a love for the outdoors. We all clearly had. I don't think any of us were masochists, but we certainly didn't mind a little bit of pain in order to experience something special. But we were. The youngest was 18 and the oldest was 60, and we were everywhere in between.
Wow.
Yeah.
The tramway itself was two girls and 5 guys, and we all lived in different states. We all had different backgrounds. We all had different things that we were either walking away from or walking toward. And over the course of 2,200 miles, you get to have very special conversations with other humans to get to know their why and know who they really are. And I think that's what made it so special, were the differences.
So you have this magical and tremendous experience with these enriching people. There's a synergy amongst the group. When along the way, was it during the Thru hike or after, that you decided it's time to write a book? And what's the why behind writing the book?
So full disclosure, before I left for Georgia, I came up with the term of MidLifeHikeThis, because I was telling people, why are you doing this? I'm like, I don't know. It's a midlife crisis. It's either a 22-year-old girlfriend or a 2022 Corvette or a 2,200 mile hike. And I think the first 2 would kill me for sure. So I'm going to do the hike. So I came up with this term of MidLifeHikeThis. That's my crisis. That's my
fantastic.
Not my crisis, but
that's fantastic.
But that's my solution to having a crisis. And so I built my Instagram and brand around MidLifeHikeThis. And at the time when I first started, I thought I was going to be a vlogger. I thought I was going to be blogging every night and writing, telling people about the story. And man, I'm so glad that I didn't try that. I did for a couple days. It's after you hike all day and in dumping rain, and you finally get your camp set up and you get some food in your belly and you crawl in your sleeping bag and you're halfway dry for the first time all day. The last thing you want to do is get on the internet and try to tell someone how great it is. Like, some people can do that. Some people are great at that. I'm sure you guys have had guests on your show and you've followed Instagram stories and other things. There's a lot of people who are very talented. That it wasn't me. And I learned that early on. So I just said, you know what, I'm going to post a few things on Instagram, maybe once a week, just to tell my friends and family that I'm still alive. When I got back, I told you I had the post-trail depression is real, and it hit me hard and harder than I thought it would. And it scared me. It really scared me. It scared my wife. It scared my friends and my family. I was in a bad spot. It really was. And I didn't see an end. I didn't see a way to climb out of the hole. And there were probably two or three things that helped me recenter myself and get some alignment in my life again. And one was, I remember by probably November, I got home in September. Probably by November, my wife was like, dude, you need a job. I mean, I was like, we're fine. We've got money. Like, we've got savings. She's like, no, you're driving me nuts. Like, you got to get out of this house. Like, you need to go work at REI or something. Just go do something. And so I ended up applying for a job at a ski resort, being a lifty. Actually, I worked in tubing, and not because I needed a full-time job, but just to give me something to do outside with people. And so I worked like weekends. I'd work 1 or 2 days a week. But that was super helpful for me, like really, really helpful. The second thing is around that same time, I realized that there were a lot of stories that I didn't document on trail that I didn't want to lose, because maybe, one day, 10, 20 years from now, me or someone else might like to hear some of those cool stories. So I started writing just like a couple paragraphs. Oh, I remember when this happened. That was hilarious. Or this was a really shitty day. Or this was great. And a couple paragraphs became a couple pages, and then another story would pop in my head, and I'd write that down. And then I was like, oh, I can kind of craft this into a tale of what happened. And so then there was a chapter, and then there was 3, and then there was 6, and then there was 15. And I got to a point where I was like, I've told half the story. I may as well just tell the other half and put it all together and put a bow on it. So I spent, I don't know, a long time, 12, 14-hour days every day, a labor of love. Just like I couldn't wait to write down all the emotions and all the feelings and all the things that I'd never heard anyone talk about a long trail before, or about a through hike before. I mean, a lot of it, I'm not unique. I'm not special. It's all the same story, but I tried to focus on the emotional honesty of it rather than just like, it was beautiful and it was hard, but I finished. So, but there's the build up ahead of time, the decision to let go of something that was comfortable and was winning according to everything that I'd known in life, to let go of that for something that was not dangerous, but scary in the best way. I had to let go of comfort and do this thing. And then again, with the crash coming back, like I want people to know, like, there's a price that you have to pay when you let it all go. When you just say you light the fuse and watch your life blow up and come back to it and try to fit in, you won't fit in. I promise you. Some people can. Maybe young people can. Maybe retirees can. I couldn't, because it was so transformational. And I wanted to get that out, and I wanted people to understand, A, that there's a price to pay, but B, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Like, it really is worth it.
You're coming 20 years back into the game. You're 20 years into the game, and then you leave the game, and then you come back. Like there is a price to pay, like Michael Jordan. I'll admit this. Michael Jordan plays basketball, freaking dominates, goes to baseball, sucks bad, and then comes back to basketball, and he's okay. He cannot come back at the top of his game. So I mean that and that's it scares the shit out of me, to have like I want to do this. I want to be like, let's fucking do this. But I'm like, I can't come back.
Well, so what I want to know, Jeff, is you've just kind of like, done the flyover here at 40,000 feet, right?
40?
Yeah, at 40,000 feet.
Okay.
You really, you told us that it was hard. It was really hard. It was hard on you. You went out and got a job as a lifty. But what was it that made it so hard? Coming back, what is it that you looked around, that you saw, and what you thought about what you saw that made it so hard? Because, people go away on a week or a 2-week vacation all the time. I have a good friend of mine, college professor. He's a world-class philosopher. I'm proud to say that. His gig is once every 5 years, he goes on sabbatical. And he and his family go to some real interesting places. And then when his year's up, he comes back and, pulls on his philosophy pants and shirt and walks into the classroom or the college campus and does his thing for the next 4 years. What was it for you that you looked around and you said, whatever it was, what the fuck? I mean, why am I doing this? Why do I have to be? What is it that's going through your head that made it so hard for you to reintegrate with the society that we've constructed, that everybody's born into, and they're, basically we talk about freedom in this country, but nobody gets to choose, right? For the most part, how they live their life. Most of us, you go to public school, you're told to go to college, you're told to get out of college, pay down your student loans, buy a house, buy a new car, or lease a new car every few years, look forward to that vacation every 6 months or so until you turn 65. And if you're lucky and if you ate right, you don't have a heart attack or a stroke or don't get cancer. And eventually you get to retire for a few years before they send you to the nursing home.
Well, Tad, that's
a little morbid, don't you think?
No, it's honest. It's exactly right. But it's like, you just said it. You said it all.
Well, that's why one of my kids is a dirtbag rock climber. Okay?
I was going to reference her
because I honestly, when my daughters were young and they would come visit me at the office, I would refer to my office as the cage.
I was going to say the cage, or the prisoner cage.
Yeah. And eventually they said, Dad, why do you always call your office the cage? And I said, look at me. I sit in this room with the door closed all day. There's a window, floor to ceiling window, and I see people walk by just like I'm an animal at the cage, and people are walking by and looking at me. I'm sitting behind a desk. I'm not like the bear or lion, doing circles inside of my cage. But I'm like you. One of the things I like to tell people when they ask me what I do for a living, I am an email traffic controller. That's what I do for a living. I manage incoming and outgoing email. That's how I make my living. And so many of us do. So what was it like? What was it like, Jeff? You come back, you look around. What are you saying? What's the struggle inside of you?
I'll start with saying not everybody's the same, and that's sure. Great, because if I used to tell my team in my former life, if two people on this team are the same, one of you isn't necessary. And it's not to be mean, but it's like, we need diversity of thought, of culture, of we need different ideas. We need different ways of solving problems, and not just solving problems, but different ways of loving humans. Like we need different perspectives. I spent my first 20 some years learning that I'm someone who thrives on not instability or insecurity, but I thrive on the unknown. Like a risk, not a stupid risk, but like a calculated risk. Like some people say, what if it doesn't work out? I'm like, well, what if it does? Like if it does, it's really cool. And if it doesn't, it's not the end of you. It's just that thing didn't work out. So try another thing. So I spent my first half of my life exercising that muscle. And then I was broke and needed insurance, and I was in debt, and I was playing bars around town, making, a couple $100 here and there, enough where I wasn't getting kicked out of a shitty apartment I was in. And I was like, I need to do something with my life. Because that's what we're told to do, right? I mean, Stash, you said it. We're supposed to, or I think you both said it, like we're supposed to go to school and get a job and start a family and buy a house and buy a car every few years. And you do this and do this and do this. And then at a certain age, you're allowed to retire. And then if you're lucky, you don't die immediately. But I fell into the trap, and the trap led to the cage. And I didn't realize I was in a cage for a long time. And when gosh, you said so many things. I'm not sure the best point is to say here, but I knew that the life I was living was not one that was really joyous and as full as it could be. And I don't know how many trips we get around this planet, or I don't know how many chances we get to be a human on Earth. And that's, I don't need to know, but I know I have this one. And I know that what I need, what lights me up the most and what makes me feel like I'm doing it at least better than how I could be doing it is when I do things that foster joy and peace and friendship and love and connection with nature. And I wasn't getting that in my life. I got some of it, but I needed a chance to get out of the cage for a second. And when I did, I tasted freedom, and I tasted that there's a different way of doing it. And not everybody needs to be a dirtbag, but some of us are dirtbags, and we should be okay with that. You know, some of us, some of us are Republicans. We need to be okay with that, and some of us are Catholic and be okay with that. And we're all different, and there's nothing wrong with anything there. Sorry, Stosh, you can edit that if you need. I have no hate against Catholics or anybody. No, what I'm saying is we're all different, and it's a blessing. Like we're all. It takes all kinds. My grandma used to say that. My grandma was one of the kindest, most loving people, and she hung out with everybody of every background and thrived in it. And my point is that maybe I'm not a dirtbag, but I'm not meant to wear a suit and answer emails for a living. I'm not an email traffic controller. I'm a person who gets fulfillment in very simple things, and I'm okay with trying something that doesn't work. And the only way you know that it might work is if you try it. And so that's what I did. I unplugged for a while, and I tried something. And then when I came back to, I didn't even get back in the cage, but I saw the cage again. And I saw those tigers and bears walking circles in their cages. And I absolutely can't do that.
Wow. Yeah.
There's got to be another way.
Yeah.
I don't need to be the zookeeper, but maybe I just don't belong in the zoo. Maybe I belong doing something else.
Yeah.
Does
this lead on to your book? Like with all this, when you started writing your book, like partial way through the AT. So now you're bringing back, and then you're starting to accumulate all this stuff, all your notes and stuff on the AT. Does this be like, well, I can write a book about this. This is some messed up stuff that people should know about that's coming back to reality. It's pretty crazy.
I didn't write a lot on trail. I had in my notes app, I would write down some thoughts as I come, you're hiking for 12, 14 hours a day. So I'd write down thoughts that sounded profound or different, or just different ways of thinking about things. And I took a lot of pictures. I think I have 14,000 pictures over the course of the hike.
Hell yeah.
And some videos. And then I mentioned Instagram. I post at least once a week, tried to do twice a week throughout the hike. So I didn't really document the hike the way that a writer would. I just did it the way that I was doing. It was important for me to be present. That's one of the most important things about enjoying anything in life, but especially a through hike. So many times I got caught up with, I got to get these miles in, or I got to catch this person, or I got to be at this town by a certain date. And that's not what it's about. It's about being present. And that's what life's about. It's about being present. Because otherwise you wake up one day and it's like, well, where'd it go? I wasn't there for any of it. Mm-hmm. I was running around like crazy, but I wasn't there. So I didn't I didn't write really on trail, and I didn't during my my post trail crash. I didn't really write until around the time I started at the ski resort. That was the first step back into doing something where I had some purpose. And I felt like I was doing something. It was simple. I mean, it was just a job. I was just helping people onto a lift or sit on the tube down the hill or whatever. But it made people happy, and I got to be myself and have fun, and I was outside. And so around that time, I started writing down some of the stories, and that's when it started. So it was very quick. The main content of the book, and I've shared this with some other authors before, and they want to smack me in the head because they're like, I worked 5 years on my book. And I was like, well, the content took me about 8 weeks. I mean, then I polished it for a long time. That was much harder process. But as far as the point of it, I just had to sit down and let it out because it was already there. But yeah, it was, there's a great book by Rick Rubin called The Creative Act, and I don't know if you've read it, or your listeners have, but if you haven't, pick it up. It's an easy read, and it's brilliant. And Rick Rubin, of course, is the super famous producer. He's done every Tom Petty, Avett Brothers. He's done, I think, maybe Jay-Z. I mean, he's done like everybody. He's incredible. And his book talks about, like, the concept is basically that there's a creative flow in the universe it's happening anyway. And artists are fortunate enough to be able to have access to that sometimes. And when you can capture that flow as it comes through, you've got to grab it, because otherwise it's going to pass, or someone else is going to grab it. And I feel like, I mean, writing might be an art. Certainly music is, and painting and lots of things are. But for me, these memories and this and the concepts I could connect them to through writing the book, they were coming, and it was up to me to get them onto the page right then, because I didn't know if they'd come back. So I just went all in and spent as many hours as I could every day just capturing it on paper, and then was able to polish it into something I'm pretty proud of. And the early readers have been very kind with their compliments and comments about it as well, that it resonates far beyond the hiking community.
Nice. Well, then, I mean, you're going like all out and stuff like that. That's pretty crazy that you didn't like remember. I mean, would, like, jot down your stuff as you went along. But I mean, not crazy. Like, I always like seriously blank out during my hikes, and then I come back. I'm like, oh, this part and this part and this part. And so, it's not crazy as you say it is. Like, it's actually pretty normal to bring back those memories that you have, and to jot them down, as you're going along, and as you're having these good times, trying to preach about what you had on the trail and stuff. I always try to do that, but nobody understands, because none of my friends and none of my, family members have a hike. They don't know what the hell I experienced. They don't know that, climbing this little rock face, bushwhacking with like trees slapping your face, is excitement. They're just like, wow, that's miserable stuff. But no, it's actually phenomenal stuff. Like, so, I understand. That's a pretty good idea,
I saw a post the other day where it was, I don't know what platform it was on, but it was something like, after walking for 5 minutes, your blood pressure starts to drop. After 15 minutes, your, heart, I don't know, just all these physical things and emotional things that would happen. And it's like, after an hour, you reach a state of relaxation where you can actually start just being present in the moment instead of thinking about all the stuff. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And after 2,200 miles, like, you get some pretty cool stuff that pops into your head and your heart.
Jesus, yeah. I was going to say 10 minutes, an hour, and then somebody talks about 2,200 miles like you do, with with this book. So now, you talk about afterwards and stuff. What is the main focus of the book, Midlife Hike This? God, I love that name. That is just a phenomenal name. Well done.
In the author's note at the beginning, the foreword, not really a foreword, but just like the setup at the very beginning of the book, I tell people this isn't a hiking book. It's a like a personal growth memoir that happened, that is set on the Appalachian Trail. But what it really is a permission slip. I hope that a reader, when they finish the book, I hope they will say, I've got my AT, I've got my Katahdin, and it might not be on the East Coast. It could be the PCT. It could be a bicycle trip. It could be climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. It could be whatever. It could be reconnecting with my son I haven't seen in 10 years. Whatever the thing is that you need to do to release your soul into joy and happiness and experiencing presence. And what I think we're here on earth for, which is to truly just experience emotions and live and love. You need to do it. No one's going to tell you today's the day that you get to do that. Like, you just got to do it. It's a permission slip. I mentioned, my friend Eric, who had passed at 43 years old from cancer. he did things the way we're supposed to do it according to society. Like, he was going to work 30 years, and then he was going to take an early pension and retire at 49 years old and play for the rest of his life. Tomorrow's not promised to any of us. Like, he didn't get that. And I don't know what my last day is going to be, but I want to make sure today I do the things that make me feel alive and make me feel like I'm doing something for me and for the people I love. And some could argue, walking away from your family for 5 months plus might not be the best way to love them, but me coming back as a more genuine and authentic person, maybe that is the right way to love them.
Hell freaking yeah.
Yeah. And sharing those insights and that experience with them kind of is the code or the password to get them out of that cage that we call life in our modern society. So before we move on, you talk about, coming up with these ideas and keeping notes and stuff like that. It reminds me of this professor of psychology at Reed College in Portland, Oregon, Alan Neuringer, who is famous for all of these self-experiments that he's done over the years. And one of his self-experiments is that he found that he averaged 1.05 ideas per minute while moving, compared to 0.72 ideas per minute when he was sitting behind a desk.
I believe that 100%.
Yeah,
of course.
So I know some of my best ideas come to me when I'm out on the trail. And so one of the things that I've become fond of doing before I set off on a hike is I'll pull one of these quotes. Often you'll see these quotes in my Instagram posts, but I plant that quote in my head for a solo hike. And I just kind of like percolate it through my mind as I'm hiking along, and what the author or speaker of that quote meant, and what it was significant to them at that time when they said it, in their life and the circumstances around them, and how applicable or not applicable it is at the present time. And it kind of adds a little something other to the hike. So one of the other things before we move on in our little outline here, have you ever heard of a fellow by the name of Bill Perkins and a book he wrote called Die with Zero, Getting All You Can from Your Money and Life?
So that was yes, I have. I own it. I read it. When I got back from trail, there's a really awesome couple who I worked with a lot in my former career. They were volunteers and very generous donors, and just great people. And I reconnected with them when I got back. I just said, "Hey guys, I'm trying to talk to some people that I admire and respect, just to kind of help me figure out what I'm doing in life." And of course, so we went and grabbed lunch, and before we ended that lunch, they recommended a couple books, and one of them was Die with Zero by Bill Perkins. He said, "I think that's where you are in life right now. You need to read this book." And so I got on my phone on Amazon, I ordered it right away and read it, I don't know, in a day or two. And what I took away from that was, I mean, it marries right into what we were just talking about. So many people, they work their whole lives and save up all this money, and they never spend it all.
Yeah.
And it's like, not only do they not spend it all, most people who retire with a good amount, let's say $1 million plus, they die with more than they retire with. And it's like his concept of, life energy, you're trading life energy for money. Like, that's what we do in this society. So at what point are you wasting life energy for something you'll never, ever get to enjoy?
God damn, that hits the spot.
It's a great book. I'm guessing you've read it, Todd, or Tad, sorry.
I have actually not read the book, but I have heard Bill Perkins on a number of podcasts, and he's a really exceptional speaker. And frankly, my take on his book, which again, I haven't read, that it's just a lot of self-evident shit, right? But the fact that he puts it in this book, which apparently is easy to understand, comprehend, and resonates with people, right, somewhat validates what he's saying is, it's not how much money you die with in the bank or in your brokerage account, because you don't take that into the grave with you.
Right.
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 And you don't get to live those memories with your heirs who spend that inheritance.
Exactly.
So start enjoying it now. And it reminds me of a good friend of mine years ago. His mother got cancer. Sadly, it was one of these things where it had a really short fuse for her. When I say short fuse, it was a matter of months. And so my friend John inherits a significant sum of money from his mother. It was enough money for him to contemplate retirement at age like 48, 49.
Mm-hmm.
So he and his wife, they go down to Florida from New York, and they go down to Florida. They spend a week at an Airbnb or a bed and breakfast. There was no Airbnbs back then. So they spend this week at a bed and breakfast. They have a phenomenal time. And as John and his wife are leaving, they say to the owners, "Oh, we had such a great time. We can't wait to come back, right, in 6 months or a year." And the owners say to them, "Well, you better hurry, because next week we're putting it on the market for sale." So on the flight back, John and his wife, the whole way back, they're talking about cashing in everything they have in New York, selling mom's house, selling their house, taking the inheritance, going to Florida, buying the Airbnb, and living it down there, right? So he comes back to work with all this enthusiasm, telling me this story. He starts negotiating the deal to buy the place. And there comes a point in time, and his wife was a real number cruncher. She worked for a hedge fund in Manhattan. So there comes a point in time where the seller wants right around $1 million, and John and his wife couldn't justify paying that much money. They were $36,000 away from offering what these people wanted to sell it. And so John came to me and he tells me this, yada, yada, yada. And he says, "What do you think I should do?" And I'm like, "John, it's only $36,000. That's the price of getting out of here while you're still alive. Don't be like your mother, okay?" And John, just think of it this way. You spend that $36,000 now, when you sell it, you're going to get your money back, okay? So for years, at least once a year, John would call me up and thank me for telling him to spend that extra $36,000. And that's kind of like a Bill Perkins moment, you know?
It is. It's buy the ticket, take the ride. It all ends anyway, right?
Yeah.
Just do it. Just do it.
It's so many times I hate, once again, I always talk about this. Social media is a double-edged sword. It could suck. You could fall into that pit of freaking government, freaking bad, one side versus the other.
Mm-hmm.
But then it also influences you, like people like you, Jeff, people like, Sean, who just drop everything and go and find themselves. Go and find, what they should do for themselves, to bring them back to reality, to bring them back to life, instead of just working that 9-to-5 job that kills you, that just freaking destroys every day. I have a similar life of just, the corporate America is taken over me. But I realized I think I resonated with Office Space. The Office Space.
I was just thinking Office Space.
Like, it's seriously, there's this one part, as hopefully everybody's seen the movie Office Space, of where he's just like, where's the motivation? Yeah. I work for a company that's the richest in the world, and I get shit back. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to work my hours, and then I'm going to leave. And then I'm going to go fucking hike and then get joy out of that. I'm not going to stay late for you. I'm not going to work harder for you. I'm going to work this, get my money's worth, and then go hike Bramley Mountain afterwards and watch the freaking sunset and enjoy my life.
And I'm not advocating that everyone should quit their jobs, but I am saying that if you're unhappy and you feel like I felt that it wasn't bad, I had a great job and a great career, but I felt little pieces of me going away that I wasn't ever going to be able to get back. And it's time and it's energy and it's that life energy we're talking about from Bill Perkins. Like, you only have so much of that, and after a certain age, you get less of that each day that you can actually go out and do something, make a difference. And like, yeah, it's in Office Space. What did he say? He's like, when he's with the
I can recite that whole time if you want me to.
the hypnotherapist, where he's
Oh
like,
yeah, it's like
before he gets hypnotized, he's like, yeah,
each day sucks worse than the next day. You'll see me at my worst the next day, and it's true. But then after he gets hypno, he's just like, like he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. At the diner, are you gonna? He's like, I quit my job. I just don't think I'm gonna go anymore. She's like, what are you gonna do about bills? He's like, I never really like paying bills either.
Yeah, like screw this. I'm not going to pay my taxes. It doesn't go back into like the good. Fuck this. Like it's just.
I'm not very good at paying my bills or my taxes. So
you know what?
I definitely should punch out.
Fuck corporate America. We should all do that. Stop paying taxes. What is it going to go to?
But I think there's a way, and I'm not saying burn the man completely to the ground. But what I'm saying is, don't let you be the fuel while the man burns the world to the ground. Like you can go out and do your thing. You can give your gift to humanity and to the world. You can make the world a better place. And it doesn't have to be about stacking money. Money's not real anyway. It doesn't matter. Like money, you can print money. We've seen that over the last 100 years for sure, exponentially. Money doesn't matter, or they wouldn't print it like they do. It's just a game. And it's all a game. Life's a game. Yeah. And once
it's just a monopoly game without getting free money every time you go around the board, and without starting off with, a pocket full of cash, right? We're all thrown into this world cashless. Some people get money from their parents. Other people don't get money from their parents. And there comes a point in time where just kind of cast off, and you either have to fend for yourself and survive, or, struggle. Both of it's a struggle. And I'll say this, there came a point in time I got out of high school, I go to college. After college, I go to graduate school back to back. I get out of graduate school, and I'm not really making a lot of money, right? But I'm doing what my parents wanted me to do. They always, growing up, it was like, do this, do that, get out, get a job. And so here I am. I got this job, as miserable as can be. So I worked for a year and I quit, right? I quit. I had a decent job, but I quit. I took a year off because I had these student loans that made me come back and start working again. But other than raising 2 daughters with my wife, that year I took off in terms of my adult life was the best year of my life up until maybe the first few months of this year. I was having a great time until I busted up my shoulder, right? So, but thankfully it's not cancer, it's just an ortho injury that hopefully, will be behind me in due course. So the story of this podcast is keep buying us hard ciders, because that's necessity, but quit your job, go in tomorrow to work after you listen to this, go into your boss and say, I quit, and then just walk out, leave, get in your car and go hiking, go camping, live outdoors. Stosh and I will come by. We'll take care of you. We'll bring you matches and water filters. That's about all you're going to need, and a sharp knife.
Life. Something I learned. I probably heard this I probably heard it from Mr. Money Mustache or somebody like that. But he talked about how money doesn't. It's not just that money doesn't equal happiness. Like they're two totally different things. Like you can't buy happiness, and no amount of money is going to make you happy, but you've got to get happy first. Happiness is almost a decision. It's almost like this thing you decide where when you align your mind and your heart and your values, like you're happy. And then having no money, it can make some problems, but it's like once the basics are covered, you'll still be happy. Back to I don't want to keep harping on this, but the captivity thing we were talking about, the animal, there's no animal in nature that's depressed. No animal in the wild has depression. And why do you think depression is so rampant in society / captivity of humanity? Like we're walking circles in a cage. Just figure out what makes you happy and throw yourself at that.
What makes you happy is hiking 2,000 miles on the AT. Like that's fantastic.
There were some bad days for sure, but that's the thing. That's the thing about life is you can't appreciate the highs if you don't know what the lows are. In the lower lows you experience, the more you appreciate the highs when you get there.
So did you, with this hike of the AT and the book, did you find what you were looking for?
I did, but it wasn't like some transformative moment on a mountaintop where I was just like, this is what my life's all about. It was a series of each day, each week, the whole process. It's just like anything in life. It's a process, right? You don't wake up one day and you're like you don't just meet a person and then one day you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to fall in love with them. It's like every day it gets you closer and closer to this feeling where one day you're like, I love this person. It's the same with someone you respect or someone who becomes your best friend. It doesn't happen overnight. And it's the same thing with, did I find what I was looking for? I did, but it wasn't what I was looking for. It was just what I found. And I talk about this extensively in the book. And I know you guys have been very generous with your time, and I won't belabor, but I'll just say there were a handful of moments throughout the trail, usually in solitude, usually at sunset, just because that's where people reflect, right? That's where you sit and think about the day and what had happened. But there were a few moments where I just had this realization that, like, I don't know when, but somewhere along the way, I left pieces of me behind. I left things I was carrying, not stuff in my pack. I mean, certainly there was some garbage in my pack that I got rid of. I don't hike with a 32-pound pack, Stosh. You're an animal. But there were some quiet moments of reflection where I realized there are pieces of me that were there when I started that aren't here now. And it was exciting because it was like, I think it's working. Whatever I was set out here to do, it's working. But it was also terrifying because I don't know what's going to fill those empty spots now. And it wasn't empty like it was lacking. It was just open to see what might fill it.
So during the hike, did you ever think, like, halfway through, you're like, shit, what am I going to do when I'm done?
Yes.
I was going to say, a lot of people, like, that's a fear I have. Like, if I were to ever do something like this, like, what the fuck am I going to do when I'm done? Am I going to go back to corporate society, or am I going to live my life?
About the time I got to Massachusetts, was looking at the numbers, and I was like, I'm going to finish. Like, it's just a matter of days. Nice. And then I got to Vermont, is when it really got heavy for me, because some of those solemn moments, it wasn't just like me realizing what I've left behind and what's open now to other things. It was, I don't want this to end. Like, this is such an amazing experience. I don't want any of it to end. And then, I mean, the whites were just, oh my gosh, you have Glorious. To have PMA. Sometime, me and PMA, we should tell you guys some stories from the whites, because it was amazing, hilarious, but amazing. That dude makes some funny noises when he's tired at the end of the day, and then we have to go another 3 miles. It's hilarious. But then you get to Maine, and it was just like every day was a celebration, but almost like a solemn mourning feeling, like where it was just like, it's over. Like, we have 14 days left. We have 12 days left. We have 6 days left. I have 6 miles left. Like, by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, this is over. And now what?
That's got to be tough.
That's tough. It's a weird feeling.
Do you explain this in the book?
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course. And then most of the book is, once again, not through the journey, but the, like, kind of the aftermath and what you can expect. So it's
just quick synopsis. It's in 4 acts. The first act is like the decision to leave the life that I had that worked, the life that made sense on paper. And then acts 2 and 3 are the first half and the second half of the hike. And then act 4 is the burn up upon reentry and the finding purpose and the realizing that, like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, but it's right and it's okay.
I like that. I can't wait for this to come out, and we'll talk about it when it's coming out and such. So let's go into the rapid fire questions. We have a bunch of rapid fire questions, of course, that anybody would ask, kind of like on an AT through hike. So, what was your favorite part of the Appalachian Trail? 2,200 miles.
Mm.
You know, I'll jump in. A lot of people say that one gap area with the random ponies and stuff like that was
Oh
what
yeah,
they were the favorite.
Grayson Highlands is beautiful. But I mean, physically, I'll say from Vermont on, it just gets better. It just gets better and better every day. It's just the best. Maine is the best. But what I miss about it, my favorite part was the simplicity, the rhythm, and the people.
I could only imagine the love that's going on where, you know, the joy of meeting up with your tramley down a mile down the road and be like, hey, you know, like just imagine Ted, me running into you on like anywhere, just to be like, holy shit, it's Ted. Like some of the people that run into you on the trail, it's got to be the most joyous moments.
Oh, there were times I wouldn't see someone for 1,000 miles, and then you're just at a random hostel together, and you're like, "Holy you! What are you doing?
Shit,
I thought you were
1,000
dead."
miles.
Yeah.
Let's hitch into town, get some PBRs.
Yeah.
Yeah, get that Plaps.
But beyond the tramley, it's just like these wonderful humans who you meet out there who are they're just great souls, and you can't wait when you see them again. It's just love. So yeah, that's the best part.
Wow, amazing. What about your number of shoes?
5 pairs, so 10 shoes.
Wow. So
2,000 miles.
were these trail runners hiking shoes or something else?
Yeah, I wore Hoka Speed Goats. I started with the
Nice. That's
the
different.
Gore-Tex ones because I had always hiked in waterproof boots before, and everyone said get trail runners. So I got trail runners that were waterproof. Bad idea. Don't get waterproof trail runners because they're waterproof until they're soaked, and then they're water filled for days. Yeah. So I got smarter eventually. But yeah, 5 pairs of Hoka Speed Goats.
Nice. You know, I haven't heard that before on here, so that's pretty good.
You want me?
Yeah,
so here,
yeah.
These are my Stosh style questions.
All right.
What was your starting pack weight, and what was your ending pack weight?
Nice.
Rapid fire. I'll give you the short version. If I'd started on my own accord, my pack would have been 40 pounds, easy.
Wow.
Nice.
But I stopped at Neil Gap, which is like the first shakedown point before I got on trail. I stopped there before I got on trail, and they wisely talked me into only carrying 4 days of food instead of 10 days of food. So I probably started with a pack weight around in the low 30s, you know, like a Stosh weight of 32 for a day hike.
Mm-hmm.
I ended because I didn't need much food at that. I didn't need any food at that point. A couple snacks. I think I summited probably with a 15-pound pack.
Wow, the fucking difference. So you started out with a Stosh pack and then ended with a Tad pack.
That's right. Yep.
It only took you 2,140 miles
to realize,
but that's okay.
But my base weight was about 13, 14, and then just food, water, and fuel on top of that.
Yeah. So a lot of people, you know, there's certain areas where you can gain a good amount of mileage in a day and stuff like that. So what was your best mileage in a day? I'm
not a crazy person. I didn't do 40-mile days. I did a handful of marathon days, like 27 plus. I think my longest day was probably 28, 29, and that was in the Shenandoahs just because it was so just cruisy. It was flat, and there was, not going to lie, there was a little bit of road walking on the Skyline Drive involved with that because why not, right? There's better views anyway. So yeah, probably 28, 29 miles.
Wow. What about your worst?
I took a lot of zeros.
I mean, well, yeah, I mean, Nero's aside, so 0 being 0 miles, Nero meaning just walk into town and stay, or just stay and then walk out of town a couple miles. Probably like an actual day on trail, 6 or 7 miles is probably my worst day. Would you say that's kind of like in the whites where you have to climb the most, so you have the most elevation gain loss, stuff like that?
A smart person would have. We were trying to meet one of my trail brothers' family was meeting us on Mount Washington on a certain day at a certain time, and we were behind. So most people say if you're doing 20s on average, scale back to about 14 in the whites. And we were doing 18 to 20 in the whites.
Wow,
it was brutal.
That's pushing it, man.
Oh, it was stupid. Yeah, that's why PMA was making all those weird noises all day, especially after about 6 o'clock in the evening. Oh man, guys, come on! But early on, I was fairly smart. I was dumb about a lot of things, but I did limit my mileage to 8 to 12 miles a day for the first like couple weeks, at least first 10 or 12 days, which was very smart. So many people think they can hike 20 miles a day because they did when they were 20 or 25, and then they get out there at 40, 50 plus years old and their knee explodes on day 3, and now their through hike's over. So I did pace myself early on, but yeah, perhaps 6 to 8 miles was probably that was a light day.
Nice. Wow.
All right, let's talk about weight loss. Did you lose weight along the way?
I lost a lot early on. Again, I didn't know. I'd been backpacking my whole life. Like I thought I knew how to do this, and the calories you burn when you're hiking all day for weeks upon end. I dropped by the time I got to Fontana Dam, which is the southern entry or southern gateway to the Smokies. I finally stepped on a scale for the first time, and I was down 16 pounds. Wow. And it was day 14 or 15 at that point. Wow. I'd lost over a pound a day. And I remember this, man. We were doing laundry, and I stripped naked because you wash everything. You know, you put on your rain gear while you're doing laundry because it's the only thing you have that's clean-ish. And I looked in the I looked in the mirror, and I scared myself. Like ribs were exposed, my chest was sunken in, my face was sunken in. I was unhealthy for sure. So I realized, okay, I guess 2,000 to 3,000 calories a day isn't doing it. So I tripled it and started eating 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day, and I was able to maintain, and then I actually did gain some weight back. And I was probably only about 5 pounds lighter at the end than I was at the beginning.
Wow. Interesting. All right. What I'm going to save my question on the list. I want to know what were you generally eating when on trail? Were you like rehydrating food? You eating junk food?
Yeah.
What was your food situation?
It evolved. I really like having like a freeze dried dinner each night. It's just something about a warm meal before you go to bed. It's best. Mountain House is always good. I really like Peak Refuel. In my opinion, they make the best of the freeze dried stuff. Throughout, I started with oatmeal in the mornings. I was so done with oatmeal by the time we got through the Smokies. And it wasn't cold anymore after that, really. Anyway, so most mornings I just ate like bars, like Cliff bars, and Gatorade makes a really good protein bar. A lot of nuts, cashews, macadamia nuts. Jerky I didn't really eat because it has no fat and really no calories. It's got some protein, but not for the weight. It's not worth it. So I focused on, especially after I realized how much weight I was losing, I focused on the highest fat content, highest protein content, and highest calorie content. So I would, every time I went to town, I'd get a pound or two of cheese, and I'd eat at least a half a pound of cheese every day. A lot of meat sticks and protein bars, and again, nuts. And all kinds of trail mix and stuff. But yeah, that in short, that's what I ate.
Crazy. All right. Best pizza. Where was the best pizza along the way?
There's so much good pizza. Hot Springs, North Carolina has a place. It's called Vinyl Pies. And they just reopened because Katrina came. They're not Katrina. Geez, wrong storm.
What's it? Yeah,
Helene. Yeah, Helene came through in 24 and just devastated the South. I mean, in the Appalachians, just devastated it. And many towns were, not exaggerating, they were completely washed away. I mean, gone, nothing there but dirt. And Hot Springs got hit pretty hard. But when we got there, they were just having their reopening of their pizza parlor as a big celebration. So we went and got pizza there, and it was just such a special moment with all those folks. Really good pie. But I was also a sucker for any time I went to Trail Town and got a hotel, I would almost always order pizza, like Papa John's or Domino's or whatever was in town. But yeah, Hot Springs, Vinyl Pies, that takes the cake.
So when you would order a pizza, would that be like one of these small personal size pizzas, or would you just go with the family size
slice family size, and you'd eat it yourself?
2 of them.
I would usually look for those deals where it was like the $5 special where you got like, or $7 special where you got like 3 or 4 items that were $5 to $7 a piece. So 2 medium pizzas, a thing of wings, and breadsticks. That was my meal.
Yeah. And the delivery guy would come to your room and expecting like a crowd inside of the room, and it would just be you.
Yeah, and then he'd open the door and he'd smell the gear inside there, and he'd just be like, "Here, I don't even need a tip. Just take the pizza and go."
So you're good. You're good. I mean, I agree with you, Mike. Like at the end of a hike, you want the most shit you can consume. Like it's
absolutely.
Like I want burgers, like 3 burgers, maybe 20 mozzarella sticks, 4 rum and cokes.
It's insanity. Beers and burgers and fries and appetizers. And I would oftentimes, like on the way out of a trail town, I'd stop and grab some stuff like fresh or like hoagies or like sandwiches and stuff and throw them in my pack and eat that for lunch. Because it's kind of nice to have not fresh food, but not trail food.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, and that's a great thing about the AT. You have stops along the way that kind of keep you in line with life, but also once again you're out of life with those time with the miles and stuff like that. It's not like the PCT or the CDT of where you have no fucking connection with life. That you have to live on your own for 7 to 14 days till your next drop and stuff. So I mean that's good. That gets you a start, and then once again, they connect with you with the PDC and the CDT. It's crazy. So now, what else we got next? The hardest climb that you had on the AT. What would you say that is?
Hands down, Webster Cliffs, and this isn't a very well-known place, but it's in the White Mountains. It's right before the presidential range, so right before you get into Whitney, McKinley, and Washington, and all those. But it's I don't even think it's a 2-mile climb from like the road to the campsite where we stayed, but I think it's like 1.7, 1.8 miles, but it's well over 2,000 feet and in elevation, and it's just brutal. It's just straight up. It never ends. I was with PMA and our buddy Taxman when we climbed up there, and we keep looking at far out. The app that tells you all the landmarks, and it's your map, it's your guidebook. And every comment about this campsite at the top of Webster Cliffs is like, it's worth the climb. Keep going. Just do it. Don't stop. And we got up there, and it was hands down the most beautiful place we'd ever stayed in our lives. It was this open face rock looking over valleys, 2 or 3 valleys in each direction. It was incredible. And anybody that is within driving distance or wants to make a weekend trip to the Whites, do Webster Cliffs. It's so hard, but it's so worth it. And it didn't help. It was the end of the day when we made the climb. So we'd already done 20 plus miles to get there. And then we had to climb up this, but that was tough.
No, crazy. Good. I mean, I would expect anything in the White to be a tough climb. So as I've been up there and I plan to go up there once again. So, as we move on from the rapid fire, we have this next big question. Do you have any next big adventure coming on?
I told you I'm a serial hobbyist and a bit of a squirrel brain, and so that keeps changing on a weekly basis. But some of my family members and some other friends from the trail, we're really flirting with the idea of the PCT next spring. Nice. I'm not committing here today, but I will make my decision by October or so.
Yeah, well, we're going to book you right now for a return appearance, so you can't back out.
Yeah, you got to sponsor the podcast, and maybe one of us will join you at a drop-off.
That'd be awesome. Guys, come do Trail Magic. Whether I'm there or not, you should do it. But I would, I'm leaning that direction. I really am.
CDT?
PCT.
PCT? I heard the CDT is very good.
It is. So
Colorado. PCT. Well, which one's the John Muir Trail?
John Muir is with the PCT for almost all. John Muir's like 211 miles, and I think over 200 miles are with the PCT.
So I'm with you. PCT. Do it.
Yep. All right.
I'm looking forward to your time.
Yeah. Write another book. Come on the show. Plug it.
Twist my arm.
Well, Yeah, and Stosh did that to me, and look at how that turned out. Okay.
Oh shit! Yeah. Disgusting. I did not do that. With all due respect, I did not do that. I withdraw my.
That's not what my attorneys say. Okay.
So
I'm gonna have my day in court.
So when can we purchase this book? When is it coming out? When is it online? And when can I promote it?
All right. So launch day is the 1 year anniversary of our summit date, September 4th. Pre-orders are open now. Easiest way to do that is my website, MidLifeHikeThis.com. You can pre-order today. We will ship as soon as they're in so that they ideally arrive at your house on the 4th or shortly after of September. And I've got a handful of cities booked right now for a book tour in September and October, and starting to fill that up. My goal is to not go countrywide, but work my network and my trail friends and other connections. So check out the website under the book tour, which will be coming out very shortly. And you'll see where I am and when I'm there. And I'd love to meet people and answer their questions, tell them a funny story, and write my name in their book for them.
Excellent. Sounds very cool.
Yeah, so it sounds like you need some Inside the Line podcast stickers.
I will take them. How about I just come up here? I'll come up and meet you guys, and we'll take a hike, and you give me a stack of stickers, and I'll take them on the road with me.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. That sounds good. You got to pick Tad up first.
Yeah.
Where are you, Tad?
I'm south of New Paltz.
I'll pick Tad up, and then we'll go down with you. Tad will have to listen to my heavy metal music. That'll make it the best.
Tad's only hiking in the town park for the indefinite future. So
yeah, so we'll see. Indefinite.
No,
it is not indefinite. You'll be back out in no time. Like, come on. So once again, thank you, Jeff, for joining us for the show to have you talk about your amazing exploration of the Appalachian True Trail, and now you're about your book that's coming out that we can't wait to see. It's September. Come on, man! Are you making us wait that long?
It's 2 months. It's 8 weeks away. 9 weeks away.
8 weeks away. So looking forward to it. I've already pre-purchased it, so I'm looking forward to it. So everybody should look forward to it. Purchase it. Support Jeff. Support his amazing stories that he's brought through here through Inside the Line, the Catskill Mountain podcast. And the last big question, the question that nails the spot the most: post-hike brews and bites. You're down in Catskills area, up in the Hudson Valley where you're going through the AT. Did you see any areas that you want to give a big shout out that has just popped out into your mind through that whole 2,200 mile hike?
I will say New York was way prettier. In southern New York was way prettier than I ever expected it to be.
Nice.
It's a little unforgiving. It's full of puds. It's just up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. But beautiful waterfalls, gorgeous. Shout out to the town of Warwick, especially the Warwick Drive-In. The thing the thing they do for the hikers there for $5, you can camp on the hill and watch a double feature. And they're just so kind to the hikers, and that's awesome. But is it Harriman State Park?
Sure. Yeah, Harriman State Park.
Harriman State Park, gorgeous, absolutely beautiful.
But anything did you eat that you want to suggest, like some massive burger that you had or something down in the
gosh, if this comes back to bite me and it wasn't New York, I will apologize or deny depending on who says what. But the Appalachian Market, and I'll find it. I'll send you guys the map if you can't find it, or the screenshot for it. But Appalachian Market, it's just this deli that the trail goes right next to. Some of the best sandwiches I've ever had in my life. And to tell you, I went there for lunch.
Garrison.
Yes, that sounds right. So I went there for lunch, got a hoagie and a beer, packed out a hoagie for dinner, camped a mile past there, walked back the next morning, got breakfast, and packed out another hoagie for lunch. I ate there 4 times in about 12 hours. It's great.
Wow.
Nice. I was going to find out where it was, but my Google is absolutely acting up. So, oh yeah. I see it down there in the Peekskill, right down Peekskill, Manitou.
Yeah,
all right.
That sounds right.
Yeah. So Graymore. So you're right on the way. That's good to know. So excellent. That's great. You know, the local stuff is what we love to hear. Tad and I promote the local areas and stuff of where you can go to once after your hike. You can go and have some good fun. I mean, we normally, Jeff, will have to take, when you come back up here, please get a hold of us. We're going to take you back up to a special place called Snyder's. It is the shit of the Catskills. Like, Tad is looking low and he's just like, no. It is definitely, if you want a Catskills full-on experience, this is the place to go.
I'll reach out to you guys. We'll make it a point before the book launch. We'll get up there in the next 8 weeks.
We'll do a book signing there.
Yeah, right.
Hey, there we go.
Fuck.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's
free
do that.
shots of what? What are we going to have free shots of?
Yeah, we'll do bar squeezes. You know what a bar squeeze is?
No.
I don't. Tell me.
You take the bartender's towel, you wipe down the bar.
Oh, gross.
And you squeeze it into a shot glass. I mean, am I the only one that was a member of a fraternity in college here? I mean, it was like
I was not.
Yeah, the Chi House was famous for bar squeezes.
Oh, that's disgusting.
It's like all these into one vodka. You got blah. What is it?
Including the sweat and tears of the patrons as well.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, but you know, to have a bar squeeze or two, you're already pretty well bent, so it doesn't really matter.
It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time.
Hear it now. We're doing a signing at or near Snyder's this fall. We'll figure out the date and we'll make it happen.
And I'll buy the bar squeezes.
Okay.
All right. It'll be a fantastic time. So let's wrap this freaking amazing episode up. Jeff, I fully appreciate you coming on the show to talking about the whole aspect of hiking the Appalachian Trail, writing a book, now putting out the book for us to enjoy. It's definitely been a journey that I would love to hear about. And once again, being 43 years old, midlife hike this. God, I want to fucking do that. I might fucking do that.
Yeah. Well, hey, buddy, I've been telling you, going to tell you again, just make it happen. Pull out a dart, put the calendar on the wall, throw the dart on the wall. Wherever it hits the calendar, that's the day. Just go out there and do it.
I'll tell you this one last thing. Ready is not a feeling, it's a decision. Just do it.
Yeah.
I've looked forward to starting to do it again. And I am very thankful to having Jeff on the show to explain all this, to thoroughly go in of why he jumped into this crazy decision, but how the outcome was so positive and it made him feel more real, made him feel, I hate to say it, more American. Like, you know, this is my freedom. I'm going to fucking do whatever I want with it.
Well, this is a very popular way of living out west, right? They seem to, you know, have more of that free spirit out there. And I'll say it looks like Jeff has figured it out, and we wish him all the best going forward. Whatever he does and wherever he does it and whoever he does it with. Just have fun.
Tad, Stosh, thank you guys so much. Congratulations on #1 in the region on your podcast. You guys are doing great stuff. Keep it up. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. I only do it to have fun. So with the Catskill community, with the Hudson Valley community, I do it for my love of the Catskills and for the love of the life that we get to have here. We get to chat with here about, you know, Joe or Jeff coming off of this through hike and feeling more alive than ever, and then sharing it all about it and sharing it, the ups and downs. It's not just a straight up. It's not just the hike. It's everything and everything in between. I can't wait to hear it. So look in September. This is the official date. What's the official date? September
4th.
September 4th is launch date.
September 4th is launch date. So either go on Jeff's website for an official. You can get a regular book or you can get a signed book. I suggest getting the signed book because that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And you can get it sent to you, and you can read about how awesome it is. So great to have you on, Jeff. This has been a fantastic time. Great to hear about your story of the Appalachian Trail. Well, this could have taken at least 12 hours to talk about. So, but we wrapped it in under 2 hours. Bah-bah!
Well, that's because I was here.
Well done.
So,
yeah, well done. So great to have you, Jeff. We hope to have you on in the future with your future stuff. You know, keep in connect with us, with Long Island Hiker Sean, and you know, please stay with us. It was a great chat.
Likewise. Appreciate you guys. Take care.
Take care, Jeff.
Take care.
Take care,
All right,
all.
see ya.
Love you guys.
Hey everyone, I just want to thank you for listening to the show. If you enjoyed the show, subscribe and throw down a smooth review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any podcast platform that you use. You can also check daily updates of the podcast, hikes, hiking news, and local news on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the official website of the show. Remember this. You gotta just keep on living in the Catskills, man. Livin.
Wicked, 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 wicked.